I hear everything one way, even though they say I don't pay attention. I do everything the same as the way I did it last time. Still you see my life is pitiful, that I'm selfish and predictable. Though I have no voice to disagree, I don't wanna change. Never staying from with regret, letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the man you.
What is going on, everybody? We are back. Dwayne, I think we
Back.
said we was going to be back at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 o'clock Mountain, and 5 o'clock Pacific. I was a lot quicker with it that time,
You were.
but we are back.
Yeah.
You know? And
You're
I think to
back.
make it interesting, it's the Christmas season. It's the giving season. I've got some of these Dad Talk Today shirts and a lot of cool merchandise over here. Why don't we make a little contest?
Yeah. Yeah. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking whoever are you going to have to do a few things? Like, okay. I want to see those likes going out right now. I want to see you share the broadcast. And did you invite a friend like I told you to? If not, hit the @ symbol and down in those comments, start putting those friends, tag them down there.
Yeah.
Whoever does that the most, we're going to give away a Dad Talk Today package. I don't know how to do that on YouTube. I just sent out some of these earlier this week though, guys. So I mean it. Let's do it. And I want you to rep it with pride. Give me a picture when you get one of these shirts. I got some really cool shirts. I wish I'd have had one beside me. It says, I am a soldier in the war against parental alienation. And on the
Wow.
back, it says, I support equal shared parenting, parental alienation, child abuse with the Dad Talk Today logo. Really cool shirts.
Yeah.
And they are available right now if you want to buy somebody one for Christmas. But all you got to do.
Yeah. You can, I mean, again, show your support. It gets conversations going. I mean, again, for my organization, I had actually a thing put on the back of my pickup. I had a shirt made, and that got so many conversations that would have otherwise never happened started. And
That's
again,
it.
helps out the group. It sounds like, again, a giveaway there. So all you gotta do, like, share, subscribe, put those names in. We got
Here we go. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about, guys.
Yeah.
Let's get it rolling. Let's get it rolling. We are watching it. Okay, I've already done that part. Like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't got your voicemails in, I got some more after today's show. 762-441-0281. Again, that's 762-441-0281. We're going to try to get more of those out there. Rolling off of the theme of earlier, we're going to be doing several shows this week. One's going to be called The War on Dads. I want that one out there. That is the war that we are fighting right now. No father should have to fight for their kids. No father that is fit, willing, and able. This is a good father that can take care of their kids. They can feed them. They can clothe them. They can help them get to school. Everything that they need to do. Why is that man fighting and giving his money to the family courts that could be taking care of his child? They call it the best interest of the child. You're telling me the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we are seeing, billions of dollars, if you add it all together, billions of dollars, that money is better spent to these crooked ass attorneys than going in to these kids, man. Bullcrap.
Bring in the heat.
Yeah, we're going to bring the heat. These guys are nothing but crooks, man. That's all it is. I don't care if we're talking about politicians, attorneys, judges. I'm sure that's going to look good when I have to sit and look one in the face one day, but I don't care.
You know what?
Guess what? I stand for what I believe in. I'll fight for kids. Will you? This is the time. Draw the line in the sand. Whatever you've seen in the movement and on Dad Talk up until this point, throw it in the trash can. We're about to come with the heat. All right, Dwayne, you say something.
I was like, coming up like a phoenix.
Dude, I'm ready.
It's like, I want to come out there with wings and all that stuff and a microphone and just ready to, do my thing. But yeah, no, I mean, kid gloves and being nice and all that stuff. You know what? And if it pisses off the judiciary, the legislators, and whoever, Answer for it. Why should a dad or any parent, but why should a dad have to fight to be in his kid's life? It's ridiculous.
I tell you
There's
what,
no
I got
reason.
open invite to the domestic violence organizations. I got an open invite to the feminists. Anybody that wants to come in here and argue the research and what's going on here and talk about these laws, you are welcome on Dad Talk today. I'd love to talk to you. I even put a post out earlier, Dwayne. They usually get on there. My baby's daddy ain't this. He's not this. But I put it on there that if you think that the government should be making money off of this. I'm not even talking about your baby daddy. I ain't talking about your baby's mama. If you think that the government should be making money off of divorce, there should be incentives for these guys. Come, let's debate. I want to talk to you. I didn't hear from nobody.
Really?
I didn't hear from nobody.
Huh. That is maybe they were all offline or something. Maybe they all collectively decided not to. Yeah, I mean, again, the data's there. I mean, Dad Talk today and organizations and the fighting, it wasn't because somebody woke up one day and said, I don't like the way it is. I'm going to do whatever. No, you got years, decades of peer-reviewed data, all this information out there that shows this is what's best for children. If they had 50 years worth of data that said that having mom raise the child from beginning to 18 was that, we probably wouldn't have too much. We'd say, hey, can we have a part of this thing? No.
Well, dude, it sucks because right now we want to talk about equality.
Yeah.
Even though I'm talking to majority dads here, okay? A lot of these issues are centered towards dads. I believe in mom should have equal rights and dad should have equal rights. Unfortunately, we know that the numbers are skewed. So it's little things that we're having to throw out there just to start taking a shot at that narrative. Like I said earlier, some of these guys are just as good as moms. Some are even better parents than moms. And somebody might say, Eric, why are you being divisive? I'm not. I am just telling you that the narrative is bullshit. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
The narrative is BS. I was a single father, Dwayne. I did pretty good. My girls were fed. They had clothes. They made it to school every day. They had everything they needed. Don't tell me that we can't be parents.
Right.
And it just makes me so angry. I mean, dude, having to sit there in front of an attorney and hear the amounts of money that they want for you to see your own flesh and blood. Guys, you guys should be boiling hot as bad as me right now. I think we've been a little bit too timid with this movement. I really do.
Yeah. We've tried to play nice. We've tried to, we've been shut down. I mean, because again, when you say, fathers should be in the picture, we should be doing these things. We can do hair bows just as good as moms can. Well, maybe not as good, but we can get them in there. Maybe not the right way. We can do these things, and people would just shut you down. Well, not my ex-husband or my ex-boyfriend. Blah, 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 and it shuts us down. Those days have to be over. If we want true equality, that's how it's going to happen. Shutting down the narrative, getting it out there and saying, no, I am not going to, sit down and shut up. It is time to talk about these things.
I think there was one I put out there. Dads are parents, not paychecks. The lady was like, if you don't want to pay for your child, then you shouldn't be having children. And I was like, if you want to sit here and shame these guys because they are being treated like paychecks rather than parents, then get the hell out of here. Basically. And I hate to be that way, but we're seeing so much of that, guys. Yeah. I promise this is your platform. We want your voice to be heard. And the cool thing is, dude, there are so many good ladies that are showing up in here and getting into a part of the conversation. I have one that wrote me earlier and she said, I went years without knowing my dad. And I come to find out it was my mom and kept him from me. She was like, and I've heard that story several times. The ones that will get you the most is they find out who their dad is right before he dies. They connect, they get to talk just a little bit, and then they find out, hey, it was never this, and then he dies. I mean, that's never going to be able to be gone through again.
Yeah.
Man, that's just wrong.
Yeah, it's horrible. All those years, all that teaching, all that bonding, all that, setting that child up for success. I mean, having both parents, it's funny. I was talking to my sister-in-law about that topic tonight, having both mom and dad in the picture. And when you remove one so many times, the data shows it, you see it on their faces, you hear the stories that, having one parent removed, it just does so much damage to a kid. Stop doing it. Keep the other parent involved.
Yeah, as much as I said we wasn't going to, I was never going to be a preacher. Sometimes I feel like this is exactly what it is. So there's somebody in here giving their testimony right now. And we said we wanted to hear the good stuff. So Arthur Touche Lassiter said, I'm in a fight now. Finally got to see my daughter for 8 hours after 4 months. I just want to be a father to my daughter. I'm going to cut that celebration short. We're glad that you got to see your daughter, but he only got to see her for 8 hours after 4 months, guys. 8.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations for finally getting to see your daughter, but 8 hours. And you know what? Initially we saw it, we were like, oh my gosh, clap my hands. It's a victory. But think about that. 8 hours after 4 months. Somebody thought that was okay. That's ridiculous.
Okay. So this guy, if you took half of the day, 12 hours time 120 days, that would be 1,440 hours. You got 1,432 less hours than what you should have if this was equal. Think about that, man. That is a lot of time that is lost, guys. A lot of time. But the sad thing is, Dwayne, these guys have been so beaten down and broken, and this system is so crooked that the 8 hours feels like a celebration. Yeah. It's not a celebration. It's not. I'm glad you got to see your daughter, but that is wrong. It's crooked. It's evil. And we need to shine a spotlight on these bastards, man. We really do. Stop making cash for kids.
Yeah, the cash for kids thing. I mean, again, normal standard possession orders that are out there are, that 15-ish% of your time. You lose so much time with your child over the years. And there was they have a graph out there somewhere that you just see the complete unequal time. You lose years of time with your child that you're never going to get back. And that is so sad that, and again, that our judiciary and all that allows it. And oh my gosh, Belfast. All right.
Let me ask you a question there, Colin. All right, Belfast. I think I've had people on here before from Belfast. What is the family law system like there? What is domestic violence considered there? We would love to hear from you because we want the United States and anybody else that's listening in to see how similar these countries are. I'm hoping you're not one of the countries that is worse, because we see a lot of those too. Talking about what we was talking about earlier, Dwayne, Mandalorian said, that happened to me. I grew up thinking my dad wanted nothing to do with me. When I turned 18, I decided to find him. It was so sad finding out the truth that he had tried so many times to see me and my mom wouldn't allow it. I found out gifts my mother said were from her, were from him. It was ridiculous. He was crying when he told me how she took me and he didn't know where I was. Look, I mean, let that sink into you guys.
Yeah.
Daughters need their daddies just as much as sons need their daddies. That's how they learn how a man is supposed to love them, right? I mean, he teaches her. There's so much that they get from their dads. And there was a relationship completely ruined, all because mom didn't want her to know. And dude, I mean, I've heard of the gifts being returned, but think about just switching out the label right there and saying, oh, that came from me. I'm going to take credit from that. That's truly evil. I am so sorry about that, Amanda. But you know what? That's a strong story. I would love to put you in front of the legislation. These little bastards don't see what this is causing. I would love to put you there. Let them tell that story. And I encourage you. I don't know where you're at with this right now, but become a fighter. Get in the movement. Voices like yours and stories like those are the ones that people need to hear. So we are glad you're here. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that. We need people like you to, voice this is what's happening and share that because, we heard from Wanda earlier today. I mean, she was admittedly one of those alienating parents. And then finally she said, I'm done doing this. I'm going to get that relationship back, with the father so they can see their, be with their child. I'm going to cut child support so that's not that contention between us. I'm going to, get skills and all that so I can, live on my own and not rely on that child support money and, not be a burden and all that. And you heard the voicemail. She sounded happy. Oh, and, God, the complete change. She's not bitter and angry and all that stuff. but we
No.
need more of those stories out there to where, hopefully that young mother or that young father, whichever, whoever is alienating or playing these games, that the judiciary and the legislative areas allow and encourage, that, those parents are going to go, you know what, this ain't right. We need to change it.
Absolutely.
Oh, we had Ruben up there.
We got somebody in here from Japan. Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome,
wow.
dude. You know what? Send me some of that A5 Wagyu. I've been wanting to try it. That's a little too expensive for my taste. But hey, we got somebody in here that's got a good question, Dwayne. I think it's going to get cut off. But yeah, let's get it in there. Red pill. I guess she's saying that sarcastically. Would you guys say that it's a step up or a step down for the children whose mother has been homeschooling them all of their lives to just up and send them off to the state-ran indoctrination camps to be raised by the same government system that profits off of destroying the nuclear family, just so that they can step up and be a full-time provider now? Or would it be the best interest for them to continue to homeschool with their friends and co-op groups while mom works part-time and it cut off? I'll tell you what, you need to make sure that the kid's provided for, right?
Yeah.
Maybe dad can step in with there too. Does dad have a chance? Is dad there? Is he getting to do as much?
Yeah.
And you know what? You got to find some way to get balance. I've seen this a lot of times. It's like, I can't do this because I got to be here to homeschool the kids. If you want to make money, you'll find a way to make money. I'm sorry. You'll find a way to get out there and make money. Let's just take the excuses off of the table, right? And unfortunately, it takes two nowadays. It really does take two. I think that's a good thing that you're homeschooling. I didn't used to be a homeschooling advocate at all, Dwayne.
Uh-oh.
And okay, I see what's going on in these schools right now. And I'm going to tell you, dude, we need to take back our kids from these schools. I mean, every single day, it seems to be getting worse and worse. So I will be the first one to tell you, I've kind of flipped my position on that. But guys, you got to take care of your kids, and it shouldn't be upon one person to be providing. If you want to homeschool them, maybe dad can help on the off time or something too. I mean, there's got to be some way.
Yeah, homeschool's not the 8 to 3:30 or whatever those hours are. You do it, evenings, weekends. It's again, it's getting that education. And again, I'm all for homeschooling. I mean, years ago I had that, oh my gosh, homeschooling is odd, but the more and more I see it, and having kids that have gone through the public education system, I'm an advocate for homeschooling when it makes sense. But again, your guys' family dynamic has changed. That's just the reality. And then sitting down with the other parent and saying, hey, look, I can do this, I can do that. And if, the other parent says, you know what, homeschooling still makes sense. I value the education. We're going to do this. Keep the state and the government out of it. That's at the end of the day, that's the big one. Keep the state and the government out of it. You guys, as two adults, sit down and make the thing that's going to work best for your children in your particular situation. So the red pill moment.
Absolutely, man. There you go. All right. Ruben Hinman said, I am lucky that I have a supportive wife. I'm raising my daughter with her in Japan. We are big supporters of father's rights. We both got messed up over the system when we were younger. Ruben, I'm going to say the same to you that I did with Colin. What is the system like over there in Japan? I have no idea. That's probably one that we've heard from the least, but I'd be interested to know because we need to know what's going on all around the world. It seems like a lot of these countries are patterning themselves after the United States. Guys, we're not just leading the charge for our own families, but there is people overseas just waiting for us to get this thing done. But I would tell you, if you're one of those people that are overseas, we need to be locking arms. It's going to be a little hard because I'm sure right now it's daytime over at like it was in Australia. They're just now waking up, but we got to find a way to bring this all together. So I am glad that we're seeing all these different countries, Dwayne. That gives me hope.
That's encouraging.
That if they're tuning in from across the world right now, we're reaching people. We're reaching people that we don't even have any clue sometimes that we are reaching. So I would say to you guys, like, share, subscribe. We got that contest going. Hey guys, keep it going. Yeah. Let's invite the friends down in the comments. I'm watching them. Comments, likes, shares. We're watching. Get them out there. We're going to go ahead and get into some of these voicemails. That was one of the reasons why, and I know me and Dwayne are probably going to be pausing in between and we're going to be talking because that's what we're doing. That's what's dad talk. Okay. I got some voicemails I've been holding on to for a while though, since we got into the child support stuff. And so I've been playing all the child support stuff. So I'm going to go back through some of these voicemails I haven't been able to get to, and then we'll get back into the child support ones. Keep your calls coming. 762-441-0281. Me and this guy right here said, as long as y'all are here, you're commenting, you're bringing in them voicemails, we're going to sit here. So get them in.
We're here.
My name's Robert. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I was calling because I had a divorce in the beginning of the year, and I'm trying to still fight to get custody for my kids. There was court orders put out that we have to communicate through an app. Well, I was communicating through the app all the time, and on the court order it is stated that every day at 6:30 I'm able to call my kids. So I've been calling them at 6:30 every time they're not with me. I call them at 6:30, and their mother never answers. She never gives them the phone. And I'll write the app, and just recently I'm able to see that she reads it, but she doesn't return my calls. So I was just wondering, is this part of her breaking court orders? Can there be something done or be pushed forward as a broken court order? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
I would think, dear my brother, that if she isn't replying to you, that could be looked at as contempt. What it would sound like to me is this person maybe not be very smart and doesn't know that there's read receipts on there. And as long as I don't reply to you, I'm acting like I don't get the message. So that can be the excuse later. They can do that for many reasons because they want to deny your time or anything that you're asking for. But you've got proof that you're trying to abide by this order and that you are communicating. Now, I'd love to tell you when you get that to court that they're going to do something about it. Some judges say this is BS and I'm going to do something about it. Some of them, you're in Texas, dude. Texas seems to make their own rules, unfortunately. And I'll turn that over to Dwayne because he might have something to say about that.
I know a thing or two on Texas custody interference. There's also other organizations as well. But basically, what's happening, doing with the Family Wizard, which is the app you're referencing, it does keep a timestamp, and it's available, and so you can subpoena it and have it brought into court. And what's basically happening is contempt of court is 2503 custody interference, which is when one parent, trying to see the child, the other child is secreting them or keeping them away, and that's a state jail felony. It's actually 2503 is the state jail penal code for that. What I will tell you is, while it sounds great on paper, Austin, I'm trying to remember the numbers. Actually, on the website, it's got the number of times that someone was jailed and that type of stuff. I think it's like 2 times for the entire year. Somebody got arrested or put in jail. My advice to you, and I don't want to get your hopes up that you're going to do that, something's going to happen. It's going to be you pushing the matter. And there's, I hate to plug my own website here, but it's got the steps on it. If you go to pissedoffparents.com, go to custody interference, there is I think it's a 5 or 6 step process that you go through, a journal that you can download. And again, this is all free. Download a journal so you can timestamp all that. Advice on what to do when the officer comes out. Get an offense report, not an incident report, but an offense report. And then when you get enough of those, that's when you can actually go back to court. Chances are really good the judge ain't going to do anything unless you keep pushing. And if the officer refuses to, you can do a color of law thing. There's links there to do that. But this is going to be a ongoing battle. We have, fathers that are that have been doing this type of stuff for years, and the other parent gets a free pass. It's the sad reality of where that's at. We're trying here in Texas and other states, but we're trying to change that, getting in touch with the sheriff and doing different things to make that better. But as of today, it not a whole lot happens. Your best hope there is keep using the app. Do not go outside there or do something silly, because they will string you up in a second. Doesn't matter. You'll not be able to use she was keeping the kid from me. That will not work. You have to stay calm, which I know is impossible. Do the journal on the Family Wizard app. When you get 3 or 4 of those, enough of them to where it makes sense, then go ahead and file contempt of court charges, and then go through that process. Again, the system's working as designed, because every time you go back to court, they want you to get an attorney and do all the different stuff. You shouldn't need to get an attorney. By the way, we're not attorneys. We're not fashion sense people. Can't remember what else we're not. We're not like an attorney.
Maybe Matlock. I know Dwayne likes Matlock. I've always looked up to Andy Griffith.
And
But
Man.
yeah, I think Texas. I had never heard of that custodial interference 2503 until I started getting really close to you guys over there. And the fact that they're not doing anything about custodial interference, I think it would be really good for a bunch of those parents to get a class action lawsuit against these people that didn't uphold the law. Unfortunately, they write their own laws, and that's the problem with it, right?
Yeah.
You can argue, and
Boxes
our
in the
whole
henhouse.
movement. We can argue the law, we can argue with research, but when you got people that just make up whatever they want to do, that's what we're going up against here. It truly is evil. But just to show you that we are live, because I am a little worried about this gentleman. I'm not too sure what's going on. Michael Carter said, I need help or else I'm going to become a headline in the news. I need help in my own attorney for almost a year. And I know the law, but they are breaking it, violating Cannon's law, parental rights group process. I need help. I swear to God, I'm going to become a news headline.
Mike.
I tell you what, man, Mike, do me a favor. I got somebody for you to reach out to, Mr. Kevin Hickey. Look up Hickey and Whole Law Firm. He's a really good guy. If you mention Dad Talk today, he will consult with you for free. And it sounds like you already got an attorney. Maybe he can kind of give you something or anything. And for those of you that don't know, that is who got John Mast exonerated. There are some good ones. I can count them on one hand, but there are some good ones out there. And he is somebody, I'm not too sure what it's. He said, never mind. No one's listening. Yes, they are, dude. Trust me, they are. But here's the problem. Michael, you have no idea, brother, how many other people are walking in the same footsteps as you right now. And when you come to places like this, our resources are very, very slim. I'm giving away a t-shirt tonight to get people to help to get this out here, but we're not attorneys, like Dwayne said, but we are listening ears and we understand what's going on. That is a pretty good resource right there. The fact that you can consult with an attorney. And if you mention Dad Talk today, he'll talk to you because he wants to see something going. I mean, unfortunately, we are all up against that same system right now. Right?
Yeah.
As Dwayne said, it's operating exactly as it was designed, and it's making people go crazy in their heads right now. You're getting your whole life messed with, your kids. Guys, we are fighting one of the biggest fights that I think the world has ever seen, really. And the fact that not much of the world knows that it's going on until they're going through it is the part that just blows my mind.
Yeah, Mike's asking, what was that law firm's name again?
Hickey and Hole, just like, if I got a hickey, I was saying something the other day. I was like, Kevin, I know that you've had to hear a joke once or twice about that before in the past. But Kevin Hickey and Hole Law Firm, he is out of Arkansas. Good guy. I don't know if you guys know this, but Kevin actually testified on behalf of Shared Parenting there in Arkansas. And he was one of the ones that helped to get passed. So really good guy, man. And like I said, we're here with you. This would be a good time. Okay. If you feel like you need to vent, you need a safe place to vent. You need people that knows what's going on. The Dad Talk Today support group, guys, for anybody that has not signed up or joined that group, listen to me. It is 100% free. Okay. We've never charged anybody for anything in there, but what you got to do is, and I wish I had this for YouTube and Instagram, but right now Facebook's where we got it. Look up the Dad Talk Today support group, request to join, and then you'll get approved. Everything is looked at in there. I think we're up to like 26,000 something parents in there that are going through issues just like you, Michael. You'll be able to hear from others that have went through it and feel like you're amongst your brothers. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Haley Barnes here. We're going to get back to some of these other ones. I just wanted to break and make sure that I talked to Michael. I hope everything goes good for you, buddy. I promise you. She said the system is broken in Australia. It breaks my heart that my partner has been prevented from seeing or speaking to his 11-year-old daughter for almost a year. I mean, I think we're planning, and this is something with the advocates. If you look up what it's going to cost to get a Georgia boy down to Australia, okay, and I got to get some people there with me. I can't do it by myself, but I want to go show people what's going on over there, man. It'll blow your mind. Like I said, we got the no contact orders here in the States, but imagine your ex knowing that she can bait and switch you. You're going to respond if you're wanting to see your kids. Hey, would you like to see your son? Yes, I would like to see my son. Bam. I got you right there. You violated your no contact order. You're going to prison, and I'm going to get full custody. And they are doing this left and right over there, man. So many other things. The crazy thing is, like it's almost identical to here, dude. They call it different things.
Yeah.
So I'd have to ask, like, what do you mean by this right here? Like, instead of supervised visitation, it's parent centers.
Right.
And I kept hearing them say parent centers. Like, what's a parent center? It's a supervised visitation center. I mean, it's almost identical. The one thing that I would love to say to you Aussies out there, okay, and you guys got to get a team. I'm working on it. I've already reached out to some professionals. They was showing me how child support and everything operates just like here. But I said, what is your Title IV-D? They didn't just make that system to make it. There's got to be money flowing in somewhere. There's some incentive to make it do what it's doing. They didn't just do that to do it. And you guys need to educate yourself and find out where that system got broken. Because I bet everything I got, it's there. It's there.
Got to be in there. Yeah. And Haley, actually, Eric had a interview with Pauline Hanson.
Yes.
Was it last year?
Yeah, man, that was a hard one because, again, trying to get up the times. She is a very, very popular politician over there. She actually started her own party.
Yeah.
Like, it's called the One Nation Party. And so come to find out, she's an alienated grandma. She's got some skin in the game. And she is fired up about it over there. So I would reach out to her, and knowing that you got a fighter like her in the office, she can be a little controversial because she don't play around away.
Yeah.
And you know what? Usually the ones that are the ones you want fighting for you, they are going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Right? They're the ones that shake
Well,
it up in there.
Look what doing, the party line and, the backyard. Look where that's gotten us. I mean, all the nice guys and nice girls in the legislative
Can't do it.
community. We can't do it anymore. We just can't.
Can't do it anymore.
No, and Haley just respond back. Sure did. I'm so glad she has a personal experience. Yeah. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Well, all this stuff,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, it impacts. There is, it's not even a 6 degree of separation with people. You talk, every person you rub shoulders with is impacted by this in some way. They either themselves or a parent, a child, a cousin, a brother, a best friend, a worst friend, whatever. This is a worldwide problem. Everyone's impacted by it in some way, and we've got to stop. The conversations. I mean, going back to, I believe it was Michael. And again, I'm hoping you got logged in and are talking with somebody. He didn't get here overnight. He got here because he does what most people do. We don't want to talk about it. We're embarrassed about it. We just don't know what to do. Getting this out there, talking about it in the public square is how this is going to change. That's the only way it's going to change.
We're going to go back. Miss Liz, I'm going to read it. She says, I take equality to mean equally important in value. Absolutely. Equal time. You need to be doing the equal work. Okay. You both can be providing for the children. If you don't want to be together anymore, you're saying, hey, we don't want to be together anymore, but we'll come together to parent the child. And if you live in the same city, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing the same responsibilities. Dads and moms can do the same things. They parent different. But yes, equality means exactly what it's supposed to mean, equality. And I don't see how that equates to equal time, she says. Do parents keep track of equal time with the kids when they're living together as a couple and mom is primarily the caretaker in homeschooling? It seems to become an issue only after the split because of money, child support, and it goes both ways. I mean, if dad is primarily the breadwinner, okay, and he's at work, and that you two have said that was the way that you wanted to do it, you got to understand when we split, we're saying we don't want to be together anymore.
Yeah.
But that guy wants equal time with his kids. And if he wants equal time with his kids and he wants to take care of them and do the same things as you, and he's willing to put in his 50%, you should be able to put in your 50%. I don't think we're asking for anything huge here, are we doing?
No, I mean, it's, again, the dynamics of the relationship, the family unit has changed. It's changed. It's not, oh, well, I homeschooled before and you went off to work. So, and we got divorced, broke up, whatever. And then we're just going to keep it the same way. And, you're going to let me stay at home and, provide a house and everything else and the kids, and then you're going to provide your own place. Again, the dynamics change. Things are going to have to change. You're going to have to sit down like adults and, talk about what's going to be the best interest of the child or children and come up with a plan that works. He worked his 8, 10, 12, 14 hours because he was providing for that household. Well, now he's working 8 hours only, and he's going to do the daycare and do this and do that. The dynamics have changed. Like
Dude,
it or
I
not.
had a daughter that homeschooled last year.
Okay.
I was the one that was here. Okay. She sat right here with me in my office as I was working throughout the day, and she was there. She had a teacher that did it with her virtually, and I would step in when I was needed to step in. Right. And she made good grades. She did good. But anything a man can do, I can do better. Yeah. No,
Sounds
dude.
good.
It sounds good. It sounds good, but
Good
we
bedtime
can
story.
both be equal. That's the ultimate message here. And right now, dads are anything but equal. You got to start looking at them different. If you don't want to be together anymore, that's fine. But if he's saying he wants to do 50%, allow him to do 50%.
Yeah.
That matures the man in many ways too. I think it'd be good for him. It'd be good for your kid. They need the masculinity as much as they need the femininity. I mean, you bring that together and the kid gets both sides of mom and dad, and that's a well-rounded kid. The research has shown that kids do better when they have both parents. Find me any research that says.
Yeah, that's
anyway.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's get on to a different one. Guys, keep the voicemails coming in. 762-441-0281.
Hi, my name is Adam. I'm a father of a 7-year-old boy in western Wisconsin that's been kidnapped by our government. I've done nothing wrong to lose my son, but he was taken through a guardianship action that, that was just unlawful. There's no safety in the system up here. There's no lawyers. There's no advocacy. They're all on the same side. They all know what's going on. You guys are dead on right. You need to keep fighting for this. And from Texas to Wisconsin, we're waiting for you. We're here. Best of luck and my prayers to you.
Oh, dude. I don't even know if we got the full story there. I could hear the pain from the second that gentleman said something. I know he was talking about the guardianship. The guardianship has became much more of a conversation, especially since the Britney Spears case got out there. It's hard to speak without having all the details, but I'll tell you what, brother, I know he talked about Texas. Let's get on Wisconsin for a second. And if anybody is watching this right now, do me a favor, put down in the comments where that way we know where everybody's from. And because every state operates different. A lot of it's the same, but Wisconsin, Dwayne, I got a story for you. I had to go up there last year. I had a father that reached out to me, and that was one of the stories. Just like, what? He said, my ex hired a hitman to kill me.
Oh, now.
Okay. I was like, okay, she hired a hitman to kill you.
Okay.
Oh, dude. So this lady, when they went through the divorce, it got high conflict. So she started making the false allegations, the sexual allegations. Okay.
Silver bullet.
So here goes the silver bullet. So this guy has to go and fight for his innocence. Every time he went in there, he wiped the floor with her because they could show that she was lying through her teeth.
Yep.
Well, at the last meeting, he got custody back and all the charges got dropped. When they were leaving, he's remarried now, but when they were leaving, somebody grabbed his now wife and pulled her into a room and said, I need to talk to you right now. And she said, okay, what's going on? She said, you are all in trouble for your life. And she said, what are you talking about? She said, she's going to kill you. Okay. I'm telling you, she's going to kill you. And she said, hold up. Before you say anything else, let me go get the guardian ad litem. So they go and bring him in there. And so they tell him the whole plan. Okay. At that point, they got a cop to act like the hitman, and she paid the cop to kill the dad. She got caught. Okay.
Wow.
Well, here was where you think this woman got caught dead to rights that she was going to do this to this guy. How much time do you think somebody like that should serve in prison, Dwayne?
I would say life, but whatever first degree premeditated
What about you
murder,
guys?
attempted murder, 25 years.
All right. Would you guys? I'd agree. I mean, 25 years at minimum. If you asked me, I'd have said life. You wanted to take a life, you're going to do a life. You are a dangerous person, and you do
Right.
not need to be back out on the streets. If you think you can reform, let's talk to you 25 years from now, whatever, minimum. She was on parole and about to get out in 3 years.
Oh my
And
God.
this dad was so scared, dude. The PTSD that you could see on him. And as he's telling me the story, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I said, dude, when that court date happens, I'll be there. And I think that gave him a little bit of comfort. Well, doggone it, the court case came and I ended up in Wisconsin. I went through cities, Winnemucca or something like that. I saw cities I didn't even know existed, but we went and I marched the whole Capitol with those parents. And then afterwards, we did a Facebook Live outside of there, but I also took this father and we went to every single media outlet there, Fox, ABC, all the local news. And I said, this man had a woman that hired a hitman to kill him. And she could be getting out. It's only been 3 years. You're a little small town.
Yeah.
I would think that would be big
ready.
news, right? You need to cover this. I had to leave, but luckily he did have media show up. She's back in prison. But how in the world, you want to know how messed up the courts get in Wisconsin? 3 years.
3
Caught
years.
dead to right, paying a cop to kill a dad. Now,
See,
let me
that
ask you a
reminds-
question.
Yeah.
I hate doing the whataboutisms. What if that had been dad that paid for her?
I mean, yeah, firing squad. It would have been over with. Yeah, he'd have been done for life in prison. Well, again, we know that men, their punishments for the same crime are much worse than what women get. I mean, that's just data. But yeah, no, the man would have. He'd been in prison for life, and that would have been the end of it. That wasn't by chance Diana Lovejoy. That one.
No.
Okay. There was
Eric
a
Gerke. What's his name?
Gerke. Okay. All right. Well, there was another one when you were talking about that. It was actually an episode on true crime for Diana Lovejoy. That a lot of things are similar with that. She had tried to hire a hitman, turned out to be an undercover cop, and I think she got a similar. I think a couple years in jail for that premeditated attempt. I mean, well thought out and planned. I mean, we say who plans more, men or women? Women are doing it. But yeah, that's horrible. I mean,
it's crazy, man. Just one of the several stories, guys. I mean, dude, to see the PTSD, the guy had already went through the allegations, and we know those can be really hard to fight off, right?
mm-hmm.
But he did. And then she just said, I'm going to get him killed. This guy, like the whole time I'm talking to him.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I'm not him. Yeah. Wow.
Are you kidding, man? Are you kidding? That's what we've done to our men. I want you guys to let that sink in. I know I'm just telling a story, but really let that sink in. Imagine having to put on those shoes in that town, knowing that somebody like that could get released.
Yeah.
That's
in 3
what
years.
we think of our men. That's the narrative. That's deadly. That's deadly. Hey, I think I'd rather him homeschool the kids.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Well, I mean,
All right,
the thing
guys.
is, society teaches us though that men are expendable. I mean, again, we're the ones
Well,
that go off to war.
All right.
I mean,
Who's going to get on the boat first? Who's going to go to war?
yeah. So, well, the guy in Titanic.
Well, they talk
that,
about
wimped out.
equality.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They talk about equality or equal pay. Men make up 93% of workplace deaths. Do you want to equal up those statistics? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And dude, men and women were created different, and that's good. That was the way God intended it to be.
Right.
And we do well together, unless you're in this society and you end up in the family law courts, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see that traditional nuclear family make its way back. I really would, man. I mean,
would
that
cure a
might
lot of
seem
our
like a
problems.
pipe dream. It would
Yeah.
so much, but all right, man, dude, we had people from all over Kentucky, Washington, Rhode Island.
Japan.
We was in Rhode Island last year,
Rhode Island.
brother. That was crazy. We actually had senators, Dwayne. If you go back and watch when we was going through there, the Capitol was closed down because of COVID. And so I know I give politicians a bad rap sometimes. They drove all the way to the Capitol to stand outside of the building to interview about this. And I had several of them say, we will fight for 50-50. The problem is going to be, where is your advocates down there? And if there are some people in Rhode Island that would like to pick it up and carry the banner from there, that was kind of what we was doing in each of these states, like finding out who's our support network in each state. That way we could find the groups and say, here, take it, roll with it.
Yeah.
If you need us, we'll promote it. If they'll only talk to you, if they'll come on a show, bring them to Dad Talk. We'll get them on here, and then we'll make the connection, and then you take it, get the legislation changed. But that was the only time I had any free time during that like 2.5 weeks, because we got a scooter and rode around. Was it Providence? Did it for like an hour with Dave. I forget. Oh man, he is gonna kill me. Next voicemail, 762-441-0281. I'll remember it in a second.
Yeah.
Hey there, Eric. Love what you do. This is Travis Mason. I'm north of Austin, almost to Georgetown. Been going through a custody mess for 3 or 4 years. Been divorced about 8 or 10 years, but 3 or 4 years of modification was filed by the mom. More money, limit my access to my own weekends I had over something silly, like over a cheer group. Anyway, that modification and that whole process and ad litem's was so expensive in 4 years. And now I've been 4 years educated, almost like going to college in this crap, and working with Ben Schooley. And yesterday filed an enforcement, tomorrow filing a modification. So I'm operating as a pro se for the first time on my own case. And boy, I'm super stoked. There's so much, after 4 years of that hell and $500 hour attorneys, is very different on this side, in that I'm inflicting the same amount of, I hate to say the word damage, but paperwork and expense for the other side, without me really incurring a whole lot. And so I don't think I could have ever done this not knowing anything in the 4 years of crap I learned along the way. And I certainly don't think I could have done it without Ben Schooley or a gentleman. I know there's other gentlemen like him, but he's who I use. So anyway, that's all I have. I think I met you briefly when we were at the Capitol testifying for House Bill 803. Certainly think I'm in that big picture of the foyer. You're probably in there too. I think there's 200 of us down there. But anyway, look forward to helping you in any way I can, and likely probably meeting you for legislation coming up in January, February at the Texas Capitol. Have a blessed day. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Bye-bye.
That was for Thanksgiving. That's how behind we are on voicemails. Don't let that scare you guys. I told you, these are just some that I've been holding on to. I only got a few more. But, what's up with Texas, man? I feel like we need to call this Texas Talk today. We got so many of these parents down there in Texas. And yeah, dude, we was at the Capitol. I was outside with a microphone, just interviewing the parents just to bring up the morale. That was a very strong moment that all of our brothers was there, locking arms, getting up there, testifying, letting them know what's going on. And that's part of the reason why I'm so down on legislation right now. You couldn't have had a better showing than you did that day in Texas. You just could not have. And the only 8 people, I forget, who was it that sponsored 803?
Middleton, Mays Middleton. And it had 22 co-sponsors. It was bipartisan, Republicans, Democrats.
Dude. Absolutely. And it was beautiful, man. And I liked Mays. I really did, because he's the one that got up at the end and said we only had 8 people testify against this bill. And I just want to tell you, mind you, that they all belong to the Texas Family Law Foundation.
Shocker.
They had nobody that showed up that wasn't a part of the lobbyist group that said that this wasn't a good idea. But they had a whole day of testimonies of parents saying, please bring this here. If that doesn't work, you know what? If you had $1 billion check to write, they'd pass it in a heartbeat. Yeah. This is what we can replace with child support. But anyway, somebody said Niave, Ramos, and Cook. Dude, that one comment, how snobby. The only state that's passed
Ramos
is Kentucky. Really? Kentucky?
Yeah, good old Ramos. Yeah, she's a spitfire. And then I got DWI, Niave. Yeah. But anyway, that's
We got anybody? You know anybody sponsoring that bill this year?
Sponsoring a equal shared parenting bill. There's been talk of it. I don't want to mention the name yet because I'm actually still trying to. Well, Rob, I think he's got the inside track like I do. Yeah, I don't want to say the name of who sponsored it because I'm actually shocked that this person is sponsoring HB 803.
I'd just be curious to know if they belong to that Texas Family Law Foundation. They're
He does.
the attorneys. Oh, well, you know, I'm just saying. I knew that already.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, one of those rhetorical questions.
For a reason. I did it for a reason. Guys, come on, man. Don't let them do that to you this year. Don't. You know what? I guess I should probably say, oh, I shouldn't have said that on screen. The hell with it. They need to hear it. Okay. They need to know all eyes are on them this time. And if something doesn't go through, you're not just going to sweep it under the rug. We are going to get our people here, and this thing needs to get out there like it never has before. Guys, keep the voicemails coming. 762-441-0281. Do me a favor. We're going to say it again. Like, share, and subscribe. We got that contest going. Are you still commenting down there and getting people in here? Bring a friend. Let's grow the movement to be the movement that we were supposed to be, that we've always wanted to see. I am waited so long for that movement, Dwayne, or that moment that we just see all these guys come together. And I mean, it's what keeps me going because I do believe we can do it.
Yeah. I mean, you're at the 200 person thing, not to keep, belaboring Texas here, but that was a moment. I mean, all those people, all that camaraderie, all, everyone talking and sharing and being there and saying, hey, you're not in this alone. That's huge. And we need more of it. We need other states, other cities, other groups, everyone locking arms and saying, we're not, God, we're going to talk about him again, I'm sure. We're not going to take it. we won't say his name.
D.
You'll
regret that one.
Send him an autograph, D. Snyder. Come on. Send him an autograph.
Dude. I mean, it's just one of those, you only listen to them your whole life growing up and stuff like that. And then in one moment, they're like, oh, they go from like an idol to douchebag. I'm not calling you a douchebag.
D, come out.
You can make up with it. Come out. Exactly. All right, guys, let's keep it going. 762-441-0281.
Hey, man, I follow your page on Facebook. I ain't going to put my name out there, my number, none of that, but I'm calling from Mississippi, and I'm just going through I'm sure you've heard it. The mother of my child, she's very selfish, and, I got to every other weekend and every other Thursday, and I've calculated it. I get 4 days a month and 10 hours with my kid, and it's just not enough. The kid even wants, or my kid even wants more time with her daddy. And I'm just going for a week, and she gets a week, equal time. And like I said, I know I'm sure there's a lot of dads going through what I'm going through, but I've heard from a lot of people, women, to be exact, that judges got a bad, like as far as Mississippi, they got a bad rep or whatever, a bad name by being this way towards dads, not ruling in their favor. But a lot of women have told me that
Bible Belt
lawyers have even told them that dads are getting more time from judges in Mississippi. And like I say, I got court in February about getting equal time, but if you want to put that on a post, I'm sure I'll see it. But like I said, I'm leaving a voicemail. I figured I was going to talk to somebody, but anyway, and don't know how to end it, but I've heard from multiple people in the past 6 months that dads are getting more time the way it should be, I don't know, just some mothers just think, just because they carried the kid that they get more time. And like, I've even talked to some mothers that are separated from their father of their child, and they get it. It's equal time. But there's just them some like mine that don't even care what the child wants. They don't want to give up that time. But that's what lawyers are for. And anyway, that's all I got. You want them? I'm sure that'll be a good post to put on your page. But appreciate it.
All right, brother. I tell you, I'm glad you called because I get a lot of hell for my accent, this Georgia accent. He had it a little bit deeper than me, but I could tell he was from my neck of the woods. Dude, you're in the Bible Belt. Georgia, Mississippi, all these states, dude, a lot of them still are stuck in that 1950s, 1960s mindset that the dad works and the mom is the one, the primary caretaker. You know, I did something earlier, Dwayne, just to show there's so many people that don't even realize how many single dads there are that have no participation whatsoever from the mother. There's a lot of them out there. And the case, what hurts my heart is if you're talking to somebody, be it legislation or just some random person, you tell them you're talking about dads, but a lot of dads don't need to be with their kids. If you say something about moms, oh, I love my mom. Yeah. You know, I had a good mom. She did this. But the first thing we're always going to hear about dads, there is just this presumption that these guys don't have what it takes. And here is another guy. Here is another example of a guy that wants more time with his kid.
Yeah.
He sounds like a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
4 days out of 30. And I guarantee you 50-50. How much of the expenses is coming out of that man's pocket? And it's not just about money, guys. Again, the money is bought with time. He's wanting time with his kid. Can we not give him that?
Yeah. I mean, flip the script. Ladies, what if it was you? I mean, the ones that have that setup. I mean, imagine spending 4 days a month with your child. What can you teach them? What kind of bond could you have with 4 days a month? You can't.
I've tried, it was weird when I went, through divorce or a breakup, and like my mom or, my dad or somebody would, try to give me like parenting advice or like, you need to do this or you need to do that. I said, you don't understand. I see my kid every other weekend. It's not, I'm seeing them, I'm getting to bond, I'm getting to do all this stuff. It's almost like having to relearn who they are.
Yeah.
Every time you see them, what is your likes? Yeah, you might not think that much can change in 2 weeks. Yeah, dude, it's like re-meeting your kid every 2 weeks. Like what's been going on in your life, what's happening, especially if you're in a case where you and the mom don't get along and there's no communication because you can't. And you're not getting able to see the kid because they got to use their phone or what have you. But it seems like you're having to reintegrate yourself in their life every single time. And by the time you finally get that up, they're going back home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the few, less than 4% in Texas that actually was able to get 50-50. And it wasn't able to get. I basically gave everything I had in order to get that. And, my ex-wife agreed and went ahead and took it because I knew I would never, I'd get the deal that most parents get. But I was one of the few 50-50ers. And every, and we had a 2-2-3 plan. So every 2 days, I would get a child in alternating weekends. So it was, it was the 50-50. And that first hour or two, it was weird. And that got me thinking, if I only saw my children 4 days a week, it wouldn't be an hour getting reacclimated to each other and trying to figure out. And these kids are changing every day. I couldn't imagine, getting them on every other weekend. And then when they get a little bit older, they're kind of like, I don't even know who you are. There's so much lost. Again, that goes back to why I don't understand why they don't do 50-50. But again, I guess the money is more important to the state.
There's some of them challenges. That's some stuff that we need to dip into with you guys. I mean, that's a very important conversation. What it feels like when you're only seeing your kid every other week and having to reintegrate and relearn everything about the child, what's their likes, what's their dislikes. That can be very difficult. There's some future conversations coming up on Dad Talk for sure. I got a comment here from Mr. Luis Sokui. He said, my experience through family court was unreal, even though I guess my daughter's mom passed away. My daughter's older sister got her way. My best advice is to cope is to cope is to learn how to control our emotional intelligence. It can help with cognitive issues. It can strengthen our grit. I recommend reading Daniel Goleman's book called Emotional Intelligence. Saludos, stay strong. I appreciate that, Louise. Dude, I can only imagine what that would be like, having a spouse pass away. I do think in some cases, like with the divorce, if somebody was cheating on you or they just take off and you find out about your family, it could be a similar grief, but much different because it's somebody that I guess that you might have been with, would passed away. You know, that was another that hard one though. Like, how do you parent after that? The closest I can get with that, Dwayne, because you still got to be a parent. You can't be a friend, right? The kids need to know that there's consequences there. You are still a dad. And that can be hard in times when the kids are going through some of these issues and those transition, and they're already going through pain. So you want to watch out, and then you get a little lenient and you realize, I got to bring my dad skills back in here, because if I don't, I am letting them get away with something and I'm not being much of a dad. I'll never forget when my two girls was coming up, and personal story, I went through divorce. It just rocked their world, man. I mean, one was 13, one was 7. One was 13, one was 7, and now the home's splitting up. And I mean, their hearts were broken. And there was times like I might have let them stay on the tablet a little bit longer than they should have. Or there was other things like I wasn't on them about their chores as much. And I realized it started getting a little out of hand. They was taking a little bit more advantage of it. And one of the hardest things I've ever had to do as a parent is that night I looked at him. I was like, get this up right now. I've never spanked. I got to have the asshole face. That's what I do. Like when you see me snap my fingers, you better do it right now. I can make them cry without ever laying my hands on them. That was my gift as a dad. Okay. And I remember them looking at me like, daddy means business, you know?
Yeah.
And I saw it, but they got up, they did it. I went into my bedroom, shut the door, locked it, put my face down in a pillow and cried my eyes out because I didn't want to get onto my kids. Man. I didn't want to. I mean, their heart, you know, but I also knew like this is the part of being dad. And so here's a situation where a spouse was lost, right? And he's got to get in there and he's still got to be dad while protecting their heart with grief. Please, man, I can only imagine, brother.
Yeah. I wish I had, some, it sounded like him writing it and talking about, he's doing some reading, some self-education, some self-help, and getting, therapies and things like that, which it sounds like, that's helping with that. And, he sounds like he's being tough when he needs to be, being soft when he has to be. And and that's another thing too. I don't know, for the kids out there, we didn't get a book. I don't know about, they gave me the dad joke book. I got the dad joke book when my first kid was born. We're not supposed to talk about that on the air, but every dad gets a dad joke book when their kid is born, and then we secret it away and then use them over the years. But the parenting thing, we didn't get it. I mean, you could follow the Dr. Spock's. That didn't turn out so well. You spank, not spank. There's all the, and the thing is, every kid's different. You can have, two siblings and they're polar opposites. One day it's one thing, one day it's another. There's so much. I mean, you mentioned you had daughters. God bless you.
Four. Four.
Somebody send this man some stars.
Yes, thank you. They're expensive. I don't want them for me, but let me show you something that that means a lot to these girls is that, they want to get their nails painted. They want this, dude. You know what though? Being a dad to daughters has made me a better person. There's been nights I've got some pictures. I don't know if I want to share them on the internet or not, but like, I just let them get their makeup and the fingernail polish and everything. I'm like, go at it. I mean, my whole face was just caked up with makeup, got the crown on and the tutu and everything. But, just being able to say, I'm willing to be here in this moment with you, have fun, and do whatever. I love it. The sad part about that was, Dwayne, I had to go to the doctor like a month later. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I forgot to take off the nail polish and he wanted to check my feet. So he takes off my sock, and I look down, and I've got yellow toenails. And I remember the doctor looking at me, and I was just like, I'm not even going to make eye contact. I'm not even going to make eye contact. As soon as I got home, I was like, how do you get this off? Get it off right now. You were supposed to take it off. It was funny, but my doctor just saw my feet. Anyway, any of you guys got any stories like that? I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, those are hilarious. Mine, again, I had, 2 bio boys, and I got a bonus daughter, and she was like 9, 10 when, we blended our family together. So I didn't have those years, and I've always been, I'm a nerd. I'm a guy's nerd. I love martial arts. I love Highlander, Transformers, obviously, all the nerd stuff that's out there, and boys, baseball, and all the nerd stuff. And then, girl comes along, and I'm trying to be a part of her life, and teach and do those things. And I'm sure we'll get in more of the personal story of how that happened, and all that. And that's probably a story for a different day. But we would have situations where like she would cry for no reason. And I naively, and if the girls are on here, they probably already know, we're already laughing. I naively went to my wife and said, why is she crying? Or and she looks back at me like, I don't know. They're all different. And, we've had so many things. And of course, then I brought her over to the dark side, because she was she had a bow in her hair every morning and matching clothes and everything. My boys had carpenter pants. But then, for I think her 12th birthday, she wanted to be a Batgirl for her birthday. So, I mean, I've had some influence there. So, it's worked out. We've had our challenges. I mean, that's a story for a different day. But yeah, I mean, it's just something. These kids.
I saw some guys in there talking about this earlier. Maybe there's some guys that are watching that has this same experience. Remember, 4 girls. And when that divorce happened, one of them was a teenager. So guess what I had to deal with? Monthly. The monthly. I'll never forget, man. Like my oldest daughter. It was one of my daughters, one of my 4. I don't want to be putting personal stories up. Kill me. But I'll never forget. One day, me and her was so close, man. She talked to me about everything, and then one day she came in just mean mugging me, and I was like, "What did I do?" And she looks at me, doesn't talk to me, opens the door, and then goes, "Bam!"
Oh, I lost you. There.
Well, how's that for dramatic effect? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you
I
now.
unplugged my cord. Anyway, but she slams the door on me, right? And I'm like, what in the world? She went to go talk to my mom. Okay. But I had to go shop for hygiene products.
Yeah. And what is it like all the different
guess
kinds?
What? I got them. I did. Don't tell me that a dad can't do it.
Yeah. Now, which ones did you get? Was it the sport, Mustang ones or whatever? Yeah, I had to take that unfortunate trip. It was like out of Mr. Mom, the same. It was roughly the same experience like Mr. Mom, going there trying to figure. I mean, I'm looking at all these options, going, oh my gosh. Of course, whenever she looks for Transformers, for me, it's roughly the same thing because she assumes they're all the same. But yeah, actually, I'd love. I mean, we have our stories. I'd love to hear some stories. Looks like some are actually popping in there about the adventures of parenthood. Where Can
you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you are. You
can hear me. I can't hear you. That's weird.
Uh-oh.
Give me a second. Keep talking. Okay, I'll be right back.
That's one thing I'm good at. I can keep talking, but share some stories here about. There we go. Share some stories about like dad and mom moments and mom and son moments. Because again, as we've said a million times, we are equal yet different. A child needs to have both a mom and a dad. The data shows it. Common sense shows it. That in the overwhelming majority of cases, and I know we're going to get at least one comment in here about no good mom or no good dad, but the overwhelming majority of cases, the data shows that a mom and a dad is the only way to go. That is the way it was designed, regardless of what you believe, but it's the way it was designed, and it's best for for children. But it is comical to watch some of these times where mom is taking care of the boys, and maybe around that special 12-year-old time where we kind of figure out, the door needs to have a lock on it, or, different things like that. Looks like Mike said that, Eric, you're a little muffled, but we hear you both. So that was just a moment ago. Let's see, I got Mike also. Mike Cordell. There you are.
Can you hear me all right now?
I can hear you. You're like, boom.
Dude. I mean, what is it with the freaking technical difficulties with Dad Talk? If you can't, I'm telling you, nobody can ever say we're not live here, dude. I'm telling the period story. And I mean, that's how it went. I'm telling you, she just slammed the door in my face, watching my cord this time, slammed the door in my face and went and talked to the grandma, right? But I had to go and search for the hygiene, the feminine hygiene product. I had to go do that for an older person. I'm not going to say who it is, not long ago. How many of you guys have had to buy tampons or pads? Dude, how many different hygiene products do they have?
It's
and it's like, which one?
Swimmers and flow
seriously.
days. And
I'll be honest, like, dude, I went for the most universal one, and I'll be damned. It's like, you got the wrong one. I did what I could.
Yeah, you need to take a picture, send me there, order it online, I'll pick it up, whatever. But yeah, well, I would have went there and said, well, the Maxis, the huge ones, I mean, they're most absorbent. That works because, guys, we're logical. We think that, not understanding how that works. So we've had, lots of fun there. It looks like we've got some. Amanda Lorraine, my daughter calls it Shark Week.
That is a good one. Shark Week, right? You know what? Mary's laughing. I'm glad that y'all are laughing. You know what? Let me tell you something. I did something not long ago, and I knew I was going to catch hell for it. But I'm telling you, when I saw it, I laughed my butt off. And I said, I've got to share this humor with my guys, with my brothers here, and the ladies, because I knew they would get a kick out of it. It was a meme that said, if men had periods, and it's showing them over there peeing, like writing their name. One's like wrote Billy, and then one's over there like squirting on the wall, like, hey, check this out. And I was like, oh my God. But of course, there is going to be, there's going to be somebody that gets offended. And I had, you shouldn't be talking about this. And then I get the thought, again, you heard me, 4 daughters. Not just that, there is more. It's predominantly female in my household and in my immediate family. I can't tell you how many times as a man that I've seen these group of women right there, a few of us guys be sitting there, and they start talking about their monthlies and how they sync up. And women sometimes can get way nastier than the guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here we are. We are getting hell for it. But have you heard one fart? I'm telling you, kids.
I'm under subpoena order court documents. I'm not allowed to talk about that with my wife. If I value my life.
Oh man.
And if I hear stomping coming up the stairs, I will have to end my time here, and you probably won't be able to find my body. Actually, I won't talk about the specifics because that'll definitely get us banned. But my wife goes on a morning run with her girlfriends, and she has shared some of their discussions, and they are quite lively. But girls are. It is great. It's fun. Let's celebrate this.
It is. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here goes Tiffany. She's like, we talk about the nitty gritty and every little detail. You know what? I bet you do. How much of our pillow talk ends up in somebody else's conversation? Oh, girl, let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
But watch out for that one that's like, girl, you're better than him. Oh, girl, because misery loves company. That's the one thing I would love to say to you ladies. I've seen more of those tear apart these relationships. But now we're going off. We'll be talking about prostate exams here in a second. Okay. Somebody said, is a serious suggestion. Is this the wrong platform? No. If you've been here, we've heard calls from all kinds of people. Okay. Yeah. Some of the most serious situations out there, guys. But I also want to be able to come in here and be one of the boys, right? We don't have to be the suit and ties. We're not the attorneys. We're not that. We're in here having fun. It's yes. Was that Transformers?
Transformers, 1984. Represent. Yeah.
Represent.
Representing.
All
I'm a
right.
nerd.
Hey, dude, I mean, I am too, man. I am too. I haven't gotten to do my gaming much. Or you said you're a D&D guy, right?
Oh yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, love it. Yeah, VR, gaming, yeah, that type of stuff when I get time. But yeah, no, I love all that nerd stuff. 3D printing. Actually, my sister-in-law's present was a 3D print that designed and built for her. It's a cool little. I have to show pictures of it one day. But yeah, I love all things nerdy.
You know what? I'm just gonna admit this, and now I feel like an idiot because I'm just now picking up on it.
Mhm.
I thought it was a real name. Mandalorian.
Roll out.
That was your real name. I put the two of them together. Okay.
Mandalorian.
I had a moment like that when we was out there with John Mast. His murder happened in Lewiston. But if you go, and that's Lewiston, Idaho. If you go right across the bridge, you're in Clarkston, Washington. I mean, they're right beside each other. And everywhere you go is Lewis and Clark. That's where Lewis and Clark went through. And I've been up there, I can't tell you how many times. And then when the film crew went for the miniseries the last time, they was like, oh, okay, it's based off of Lewis and Clark, Lewiston, Clarkston. It's like, wow.
Boom.
Wow.
Actually, somebody just asked if we have more voicemails. Sorry, Mary, but we have millions of voicemails, but we're trying to get through them, but we're having so
Dude, we just
much.
played one from Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We just played one from Thanksgiving. We're going to get to some now. Keep them coming, though. 762-441-0281.
Hi, Eric. My name is Richard. I'm calling from Florida. I wanted to say thank you for all you do with Dad Talk. My situation is this in a nutshell. I was alienated from my kids after 6 months of custodial interference where she wasn't abiding by the decree and she was keeping 2 of my 4 children. Once I tried to take legal action, she leapfrogged and got a sleazy divorce attorney to go in and file false accusations and use the silver bullet to take all 4 of my kids. That caused me to have to pay the maximum amount of child support, which I didn't owe in the first place. So I lost all my financial assets. I lost my entire 401k due to unlawful rulings by the judge. So at the time I was losing my kids, losing my job, and losing my reputation to defamation and savaging. I also found out that my father, who lived in California, I'm an only child, by the way, my father had passed from cancer. I was following his struggle with cancer from where I lived in the Midwest, but his widow, now my ex-stepmother, correct, actually stole my inheritance. So while I was going through the divorce and all the other anxiety and trauma, I also had to endure all of the pain of losing my dad, not being notified. I found out my dad was dying and had died and had passed on Facebook. So I didn't have a chance to go be with him, be by his side, and share any moments with him in the last breaths of his life. That's the trauma, the extreme trauma that I had to endure, and that's part of my story. I hope you give me an opportunity to share it because the pain is inconceivable, and I know that's the type of thing that you're trying to help people work through. So I appreciate your time. Thank you, and have a great day, Eric.
And this is what we was talking about, guys, trying to find a balance because, you go right back. I don't know what it is about these situations. Usually if it was one, that's hard enough to fight through, but he's going through this plus the death of a father, plus getting the inheritance taken away. And it seems like this guy is just getting beaten down every way he turns, man. And then finding out about the death of his father on Facebook. There is a father down in Texas. You'll probably know who I'm talking about. He was the subject of a Netflix documentary, Audrey and Daisy, who had a daughter that committed suicide. And I remember him coming on here talking about finding out the death of his daughter on Facebook. And this was an alienated guy. I mean, I don't even know that she knew her father existed. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But could you imagine finding out about the passing of a loved one on Facebook. Like, what's got to be wrong with people? Like in times like that where you can't even tell a loved one, that one of their family members passed away.
Well, if you want to get a little real here, it was a little triggering. When my now ex-wife, she took 3 bites at the apple. She'd filed for divorce. Then when it wasn't, I of course was recording and I had information and the time wasn't right. So her attorney would tell her to back off. I tried to keep the family together. Her second bite at the apple, during that, my father actually died. He was in Missouri, and that was pretty much how I found out that he had passed. So while I was going through a divorce, my father passed away, and so I was dealing with both at the same time. So, and then a few months later, boy, this is going to get really weird. My mother killed my grandmother. About 2 months later. It's probably a little too real to be talking about that on this show, but that things I deal with every day. I feel for the guy. I mean, to deal with 2 separate catastrophic things at one time, and then having attorneys and everyone that profits off the system. And again, we're not going to exonerate, the mother or the wife through that. And then you have his stepmother that, at the same time used that, him being his attention being focused on his, kids and the divorce and trying to get through that to then steal his inheritance, and more law nonsense. I mean, I feel for the guy.
Mm. And the crazy thing is, brother, if your call, you heard it come in, I mean, several different people getting down in the comments saying that's how I found out a family member died. That's there. And I guess that's what's therapeutic about this, is knowing that there's people out there that understand. I hate that there is people out there that understand situations like this, and sorry for you as well, Dwayne. And that brings up, a little bit different than what we normally talk about at Dad Talk, but I guess now is as good a time as any. What is up with family that fusses over inheritance? I have never understood that one. Let me tell you something. When my dad passed away, I didn't get much. I knew he gave me a gun. He gave me a gun. My dad will be passed away 10 years next month. I never brought that gun to my house until less than 6 months ago. So almost 9 years it stayed in his closet just because that's where I remembered it as a kid. I didn't care about that. I wanted my dad, man. But these families that break up after this because they fuss over money, it's no different than the family courts, man. Do you really value money that much over family? I mean, here's a guy that his dad passed away. You can't let him get his inheritance. Seriously.
In Missouri, you have to have an attorney, and actually, I found a good one that handled that part of it. And I don't know if it was who the person that had the quote, but you do not know your family until someone passes away. And I'm trying to be very careful here because I do have people. I'm trying to keep this as generic as possible. That some recent things over the last couple years. That I had been telling them this, you don't know family until this happens. And they said, oh no. And then a family member passed away, and it checklist something. I mean, when somebody passed away, the matriarch, the patriarch of the family, or anyone, but when those things happen, people, their brains, and to pull it back to a smaller scale, if you work in an office and someone leaves the company, I've seen people like descend on their cubicle back in the days when we actually went into the office and like take staplers and paper and pens, and it was just crazy. Something about when someone passes away, people lose their minds, and that's why it's so important to have a will in place and have that recorded. Do not have it just sitting around, because those things burn up magically. and then all kinds of stuff happens. But they just lose their minds. And oh boy, for my own personal thing, I was I'm gonna give you a PSA tonight. If someone names you the executor of their estate, they hate you. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Whoever gets,
yeah.
I don't know if you were in your situation, but what happens is everybody focuses all that anger and hurt and pain on you, and they think that's the reason you have to sell the car or a house or whatever. They think it's, you should just give it to them, or you should just do this or do that. And you're like, I can't do that. I have to fulfill my obligation. And I won't tell too many personal stories here about that event, but I had lawsuits and unfortunately there's all kinds of stuff, but lawsuits and threats of all kinds of stuff just through that whole nutty time. And there's no reason for that, but it's people lose their minds. Get a will. Everybody get a will and get it done. When you talked about the gun, trying to turn a positive here. I live in the suburbs. I grew up on a 1946 Farmall Super C tractor, big old tractor, and that I grew up on that thing. I lived in a small little town, and we had tractor day at my high school. Give you an idea of the country bumpkin I am. I used to take that through our floods. Our area is flooded all the time from the river, and drove it. Well, a good friend of mine held on to it after my father passed away because I lived 3 states away. A couple years ago, I brought that tractor down to the house. I live in the suburbs, but I have a 1946 Farmall Super C tractor sitting out in my front yard right now. And all of our neighbors love it. They think it's the coolest. They think I'm a little crazy, but they think it's the coolest thing in the world. But that whenever I see that tractor, I can smell my dad. I know it sounds weird, but it's so many good memories of that tractor, and my dad. But I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent there. But get a will. And
that's all good, dude. I mean, you talk about family. My dad didn't have a will. So you want to talk about, the good thing is me and my siblings and my mom were close. So we didn't have that fussing over that.
Really?
But I've seen it. Yeah. No, very close family. But, Michael Landefield, I want to bring up that comment. He said, I found more comfort in having pictures celebrating our lives together than all of the things we fought over.
Mm.
I got my picture of my dad right here on my desk, man. This thing right here means more to me than any money you could ever give me because I didn't have many pictures with him. That's me and my brother. My brother looks like he was the mailman's son. He looked like my grandfather, but that was this, and I cherish this so much, man. And when my dad passed away, I had this thing sitting right there in my car, and so when those hard moments would come, I would pick it up, and that was how I talked to him. Unless you've been through those moments of grief, and then that's how you've got to talk to your parents. I've been to the grave, just like I want to talk to you so bad. I'm going to talk. I know you can't talk back, but knowing how bad I'm wanting and desiring those conversations, and what keeps me going, what is my fuel, is knowing that love that I have for my dad. How many kids out there have that wisdom and that dad that could be like mine or like yours, Dwayne, that are not getting the chance?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a picture. This is going to sound a little dorky. I'm going to turn it around here, but I have a Transformers room and a Voltron room. I know I'll have to show pictures of it one day. But there was a picture of my dad and his 2 grandsons, my kids, sitting on that tractor. We have a great picture of that. And actually, there's a video of it out on the Piss Off Parents site in one of the commercials I've made. But anyway, it's having those pictures, being able to spend that time and thinking about it, and wanting to have that time, and relating that back to some of these things, for the ladies, the men again. And I know we're talking about dads, we're talking about moms too, but if there's any chance at all, let the kids see their dad. Let the kid spend time with both parents. There's so much that I wish I could find the words to explain it, that you got to do it. This is all the time we have. This is it. I mean, all I have are pictures and a couple
That's it.
videos and a tractor. That's what I got.
That's it. All right, guys. We'll get on. I'm going to get 2 more voicemails in there, and then we'll just go dork for the rest of the podcast. if Dwayne's all right with that, we'll have some fun because we're going to have to find some balance. But you know what, dude? These are good conversations that men need to have. We grieve the loss of our parents. All of these are situations that men just haven't had that outlet to speak. Dads, okay? And you ladies, too. I'm enjoying having you in here. So let's keep those going. There's challenges that we all face. And when we see you guys' comments or we hear these in the voicemails, I can guarantee you there's people that's going to relate to it. So keep those voicemails coming in. 762-441-0281.
Yes, my name is Calder Gill. I'm from Maine, and I am going through
my
a divorce with someone who displays personality traits consistent with covert narcissistic personality.
All right, let me pause it.
Disorder. We have 2 young girls together. The relationship started with entrapment. She told me she had a medical condition where she couldn't get pregnant, but was on birth control anyway, and waited till she was 5 months pregnant, and then told me and a multitude of my friends that she had a tumor growing inside her stomach. When I went to the ultrasound with her, there was my first daughter, fully developed. She was beautiful, and that's the first time I fell in love with her. And after we had our second child, and within that time, my then wife knew within 2 weeks that she was pregnant, so it was very suspicious. And after the difficult child rearing years were behind, which I guess is very classic for a narcissist, she did everything she could to get rid of me and isolate me. She convinced me to leave my job and be a stay-at-home father during COVID, which I did. She then applied for, interviewed for, and took my job, and then told me she wanted a divorce and that she wanted me to leave the house and so she could be at home with her children. When I refused to leave and told her that I'm not abandoning my children, she filed a protection and abuse order. Right before going to trial to defend myself, she negotiated to drop it. If I would get out of the house temporarily, a judge stopped this and ordered me to go back to the house. A couple months later, she filed a protection and harassment order. She made 5 attempts to send the police to the house during my time with the children. And the battle continues. I'm a year into it. I've spent $50,000 just trying to be with my children half the time. It's a remarkable story. I'm a medical provider here in Maine. I have no arrest records aside from trying to buy once in college. I don't use drugs, drink alcohol, smoke, gamble. I'm well respected in my community, and it's a losing battle right now. After $50,000, I go 8 days every other week without seeing my 7-year-old and 4-year-old. And when that first started, they were 3 and 6. And by the way, that schedule was implemented by a guardian ad litem, whose job it was to do what's in the best interest of the children. It's a continual fight, and it's unbelievable. But that's my story. Thank you.
Dude. So we was in Maine last year too. It almost sounds like a bait and switch. I can't get pregnant now. I'm pregnant now. I'm filing for divorce. It looked like you might have had a trigger in there, but I'm going to tell you, I had it at the same time. I had a girlfriend that told me she had ovarian cancer. Healed it with turmeric. Okay.
Turmeric.
We had a child.
Wow.
Yeah, turmeric.
Turmeric. The powder.
Also thought at one point in time they could heal a broken leg with essential oils. Have you met the essential oils people?
Yeah.
Dude, get me off of the Dwayne talk.
Well, guys, vasectomy, condom, wrap the willy.
Get him. Why didn't I get a vasectomy emoji? What would it have been? The balls getting chopped?
Well, that's family court. I mean, that could be. That emoji could go for a number of different things. Guys, I mean, condoms. vasectomies. They were like 98. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just going off the research. 98% reversible. Yep. It was like Mandalorian. Yeah. It's not that bad. Had one. I got the big V. I'm a V guy. I'm not a vegan. I'm a V guy. And again, day or two of little, I drove home in a pickup truck, stick shift pickup truck for my vasectomy. So don't tell me how, it hurts. Did that, bag of peas, couple days later, I was fine and good to go from there. Get a vasectomy. Don't ever, and I'm sorry, ladies, don't ever believe the woman on birth control, because again, when those baby things start happening or whatever, you know how many conversations have happened with, well, I'm going to stop taking my birth control. Oopsies, I'm pregnant. And then
I had one admit that to me one time, dude. I had one admit that to, a girlfriend. She was like, I contemplated not taking the birth control so we would have a kid. And I was like, what? That one didn't last much longer. I can promise you. That was like,
on the play.
Yes, red flag for sure, man.
That's your next emoji.
Michael said, put a helmet on that soldier.
Yeah.
Look, dude. So even when we're talking about the herbs and stuff, here goes Ryan Wheeler. I pulled it up a second ago. LOL. My ex told me something similar about having ovarian cancer and healed it with herbs and uncomfortable things put up there. Dude, I mean, again, stories repackaged, resent out, a lot of the same tricks that are played. I'm going to tell you, a lot of this stuff that happened to me, I was a freshly divorced guy. Self-confidence was about this big, and anybody could have took control of me at that point in time. That's how sad it was. I was a weak man. And that's why I do what I do now. But we got a comment in here, Dwayne. I hate to go back on that subject, but I think it's one we need to go back on, because I didn't know he was going to bring this up on here, but I am proud, so proud of this man. Mike Whitney said, I was on the phone not long ago with you, Eric. I got a call on the other line from a hospice care nurse who called me back and connected me to my father on his deathbed. We haven't talked in about 10 years, but we did say our goodbyes. You heard the state I was in afterwards. You were right that I should have called him, and I do not regret it. So let me tell you the story behind this. I love this guy. This is like a brother to me. This has been about a year in the making, Dwayne. He has gotten to the point to where he was just like, and his dad gave him some advice. He said, son, you need to simplify your life. Mike lives in a van with his dog out in the middle of the desert. If you haven't seen the photos, it's beautiful. Not a care in the world.
Love his dog.
He got so tired of the family courts and what had happened to him. He's like, I'm just going over here and I'm going to live life myself. Well, I can tell when something's wrong with the guy. I remember his dog before then, not Rocky, but doggone it. Stormy. Sorry.
Start with an S. Yes.
I'm sorry on that, Mike. And it was a beautiful Siberian Husky. He was his best friend. When he passed away, oh my God, dude. Some of these guys, especially you've been through family law, some of you might not be pet people, but dogs are the most loyal thing on the face of this earth. And I understand why, after being around people for 38 years on this earth, why people get attached to those dogs the way they do. I spent like 4 hours on the phone with this guy, dude, while he was crying his eyes out. But I've known him. We've built that relationship, that camaraderie. And it was around last year, he had messaged me and told me, his dad wasn't doing well. And he wanted to reach out, but then again, he didn't. The pride. All of his men got it. And I just told him, I was like, dude, you know how many times? It's been 10 years since my dad passed. I want that conversation. There's all these things that you wish you want, that you want to say, and you don't want those regrets. And it took a while, but we was on there. And I think it finally came to a head when I was talking to him. This was just like a week or two ago. And I said, Mike, you're telling me that if that man passes, you're not going to have any regrets. And he said, Eric, I'll call you back. And we've been having this conversation for like a year, dude. But he found out his dad was in hospice. And when he called me back, he was just in tears. He called him. They got to talk, say goodbyes. And it took a big man to do that. And I know you feel much better for doing that. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. Sometimes our pride gets in the way. And we might have that pride for a reason. Maybe we've been hurt by people. Maybe your dad's hurt you. Maybe your mom's hurt you. Maybe your kids have hurt you. But you know what? You're doing that for you just as much as you're doing that for them, right? Sometimes you got to do it for you. Reach out, make that contact. That is your family. You love them. There's too many relationships and too many families breaking up.
Yeah.
Because of this. So love you, brother. I'm proud of you for that. And I'm proud of you for sharing that story.
Yeah, he's good.
And I hope Dad's okay right now. I don't know if he's gotten any updates on that.
Yeah.
But
getting out, yeah, I mean, every day is a new day. And I get it. I mean, you're prideful. You're oh, I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm, you don't get that time back. I mean, again, sorry for a different day. With my father, there's a regret that I have every single day. But yeah, no, you need to pick up the phone, reach out. You're not going to get that time back.
Yep. Dude, I mean, you just don't want to ever have that. You don't want to be looking in the rear view mirror at it. Trust me, I've been that guy. Like, man, the last 3 words I heard from my Dwayne was, I can't breathe. And I was telling him to relax. I should have said, I love you. My last 3 words I heard from my dad was, I can't breathe. And he was taken. He was gone. He did. Oh, dude. We both knew. I mean, he was a very prideful guy too. So he wasn't an emotional, oh, baby, I love you, son, do this.
We're not.
No.
Yeah,
we're not. No. And there's not.
Dads. Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, I got the picture right here. Got this. I've sat there and cried on his grave many a times. Just did it not long ago. And sometimes that's therapy, guys.
It is.
That's the power of a good dad in your life. Right.
Yeah.
And even some of those that had challenges, maybe you just patched up with your dad not long ago, or maybe you haven't talked in a while. Make the connection, please.
Yeah.
It could be his pride keeping him from reaching out to you. There's many different things. I had a lady that reached out earlier. She's like, I got a ex that he's not connecting with his daughter, and I don't understand why. I think he's a good guy, but what do you think is going on? And my first thoughts was, did he have a dad in his life? A lot of these guys that grew up fatherless are afraid that they're going to be doing something wrong, Dwayne.
No,
that is a symptom that I see with many of these guys. Don't let that hold you back, man. This can be one of the greatest experiences of your life, as long as you don't end up in these damn courts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Being a parent, I wouldn't trade it for a thing. And, for the dads, and again, I know we've been talking more about dads and moms. Sorry, ladies, this is different coming from a dad. Dads, tell your kids you're proud of them. That's all they want to hear.
It does, man. It does. They're special. Yeah. I love you, man. Okay. I'm glad. I see the love you got for your dad right there. I've got it. Trust me. I've got it too. You get me in here talking too much, but that's the sign of a father in his son's heart. Right. And I know a lot of you guys got it too. Mike, I'm proud of you, brother. Thank you.
Good job, Mike.
All right, we're going to get on to this next voicemail.
Yeah.
762-441-0281.
My name's Andrew. I'm from a small town in northeast Arkansas. I've got an ex-wife and a current wife, soon to be ex-wife. I've got 2 kids with my ex-wife and then 1 child with my current wife. My ex-wife lives in front of her father, who molested her as a child, who I believe is now molesting my daughter, based on the umpteen number of signs and red flags she's thrown up, to the point of now she won't even speak to me. My ex-wife has alienated me from her and my oldest son. My oldest son is picked on, and it's just a around the clock torture for them, I think, mentally and physically and emotionally. And then my current wife, I have 1 child with, my youngest son. He's pretty much put through hell every day. His mom's just not a very good mom. She, I saw the meme on the page that said, I think it said crappy parents feed their kids frozen food, at least microwave it. Well, I mean, the harsh reality is that they have been fed frozen food, so I kind of snickered a little bit, but it's kind of sad. He's been taken to the hospital over 160 times in under 3 years, for various bruises, bumps, severe injuries, broken nose. It's like no one will get it, no one sees it, or no one will do anything. DHS is a joke. Can't afford a lawyer, so that's my story. My name's Andrew.
Oh, dude. I mean, thank you for
sharing.
I mean, this is the point that makes what we do so hard, because it seems like from what I am picking up as CPS, the cases where they need to be involved are the ones that they overlook. And the ones that they should have never had a hand in are the ones that they get involved in.
Right.
And there is cases where these kids are going through this abuse, and you got these dads sitting over there saying, hey, look at what's going on. And nobody listens to him. Nobody. He said his son's been to the hospital 160. I mean, how many times do you got to go to the hospital before we raise a red flag and say, hey, somebody do something?
Yeah, if a woman goes to the doctor with a bruise on her, they're going to throw her through the 50 questions of domestic violence or something. Yeah, this kid's going to the hospital 160 times. There's something going on. Yeah, and unfortunately, the system's designed to work this way. I wish I could help each one of these callers, but with the system the way it is, with the number of people that are involved, it is, it's a law of numbers. Getting millions of people to lock shoulders and say we're not going to take it, we're done, and make changes. That's the only way it's going to happen. There's little things you can do to navigate here and there with partial success or some amount of moving forward, which it is good to move forward, at least have some next step or to do that. But yeah, this guy's I mean, he did say the mom's not that good. You know what? Yeah, it can be said for a number of moms and dads, but can be said. Yeah. I wish I'm trying to think of some encouraging words that are going to get into to the next step. I mean, if he has an attorney, maybe get a different one. Maybe decide to go pro se and try to document all this. The 160. Hopefully, he's able to get the medical records and find out why he's going into the hospital. Is it bumps, bruises, and stuff like that? And then try to do some. I don't know if you can reach out to the mom. It sounds like that's not going to happen. I wish I had better solution.
I mean, I see that we got a lot of people of faith in here, and I don't discriminate anybody upon their religion or whatever. But right now, guys, I mean, prayers for this gentleman right here. At least we can get that out in thoughts and let him know that he is not alone. I would say CPS, listen to what's going on here. The scary thing is knowing how broken that the system is and how these organizations operate. You don't want to suggest that you might want to call them, right? And like we get a little shade thrown our way because we've said something like that on the air. Like CPS, we've seen the cases that are going on. I have talked to sheriffs, Dwayne, that said, what in the world is going on? This is the most, I had one that said it was the most Nazi Gestapo thing that he had ever seen in his life. And this was coming from a sheriff out in Arizona. Dude, Arizona with these issues. Oh, Jesus.
Well, I can give you a hold my beer moment here in Texas. A couple months ago, we had a CPS agent tell a girl, a 12 or 13-year-old that living in a hotel, that she should basically start selling herself to get money. Documented. I mean, on video.
It's CPS. It seems like dude. I mean, what world are we living in right now? I mean, seriously. I mean, the stories just keep getting more and more extreme. Yeah. I mean, I was having the same talk last night. If you guys aren't following the John Mass Foundation, please do so, because they are trying everything they can to get some resources out for cases like this. But you get the people that reach out and send you their court documents, and you hear stories like this, and hey, I need help. What do you do, Dwayne? Like, we can put a spotlight on it and let people know what's going on. But if you're a person that can show empathy and you care, you want something to happen. 160 times to the hospital. I mean, dude, yeah, go back to Texas. Robert Garza, 43 false CPS allegations, and he fought off every single one. At what time do we say, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think the CPS form now has Robert Garza's name just automatically on the paper stock because it has so many false allegations. It's ridiculous, and they just push the paper through. They just don't care. But it's going to take millions of people. You know, this movement, people saying we're not going to take it and do something about it.
Yeah,
that's what's going to take.
I tell you what, guys, we're here. We're with you. Keep sharing, subscribing. Invite more people to the dance. Let's keep the conversation going. We'll try not to talk too much about the dorky stuff. We're going to have to, actually. I mean, that's fun. We got to mix some fun in between this, guys. So, but we're here. We're spending Saturday night with you. So we hope you'll come in here and help us make sure we get this out. There's some serious situations going on, but we trimmed down on the voicemails pretty good now. So I need some more in here.
Okay.
I have no shortage of people in my inbox. No shortage. This is your way. Get those voicemails in. That's what we made it for you to connect with us. And we want to hear your stories. We want the world to hear your stories. I know it's only 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes. You see, we play it all the way through. Get in there. 762-441-0281. Again, that's 762-441-0281. We're going to play a few more, but I tell you what, while we're sitting here with you, maybe you haven't had a chance to get in the voicemail. Put it down in the comments. We'll start bringing you guys comments up, and we'll read your stories, and we'll comment on those as well, because I feel like there's some people here, Dwayne, that need a listening ear and need some of this camaraderie. So keep going.
Hey, Eric. How are you, brother? Right. I love the work that you do. I'm calling from New York. You asked a question about the mother, and if she's receiving child support, is she doing it all on her own? Well, I'll tell you, it's actually much worse than that. I'll give you an example. In my case, I was a stay-at-home dad for about 9 months with our son and the mother, and she committed domestic violence so many times, knife-wielding, borderline personality disorder, all sorts of nutty things. I couldn't live with her anymore, so we separated. She went to family court immediately, and she lied, claiming that I was the perpetrator of domestic violence, and the custody court automatically gave her custody, primary custody, temporarily, even though I also made complaints that she was the perpetrator. They ignored my complaints and only listened to hers. Then she immediately went to child support court, and she got a support award in New York where it's 17% of your income for one child. New York assumes it costs $24,000 a year to raise a child, which is an inflated and fraudulent number. I did the math in my child support case, and I stated that it costs $300 to $400 a month to raise a child at the age of 1, 2, 3 years old, because I know exactly what it costs to raise my son. So even though it costs the mother $3,000 to $4,000 a year to raise our son temporarily, the court gave her an award of $18,000 of child support. So not only was she getting child support, she was making a profit off of our son. And when I filed objections and appealed, I stated, what kind of public policy is it that a woman who commits domestic violence then goes to court, gets custody, and also gets to make a profit on child support? It was absolutely terrible. And even worse, because I was paying so much child support, my net income each year was negative and I was bleeding money. So it was extremely difficult to pursue the custody case because that cost a lot of money. And the only reason I persevered in one custody is because I'm just too stubborn to accept the uninformed opinions of uninformed people. So that's child support in a nutshell. That's the system. And nobody, no child support magistrate or judge had an issue with the idea that a woman could commit domestic violence, lie about being a victim, and then make a big profit in child support. A big profit to the extent that I was paying her entire cost of living, almost her entire cost of living, to my abuser. So that's it. Hope that helps. I will hopefully talk to you soon. Bye.
Working as
All right,
designed.
so talk about that 3 minutes. And I tell you what, this guy barely breathed when there was a lot. There was a lot. Dwayne, I was trying to keep up with it. Give it to me in a nutshell, what you was picking up on that one.
Well, it's working the system's working as designed at the end of the day. So, situation, she did domestic violence against him. He did it against her, did a divorce, walked in. Well, she went to domestic violence and then ran down to the child support office to get that. They went, did the 17%. It's 20 in Texas. So, thankfully, a little bit easier there. But, court sided with her, gave the max child support. Again, it's a formula of 17%, not what it actually costs to raise a child. Because again, Title 4D, all those pieces, it's not about what makes sense. It's what's going to get the state their incentives and all that. But anyway, they did that. He tried to argue, wasted more money through his attorney and all that through a system that does not care. They're looking for the incentives. They're not going to believe the man. And that, that was the end story. And unfortunately, that is the way the system is designed to work. He went through the system. It's working the way it's been built over the last 60, 80 years, or what it's evolved into.
That's right.
And I wish we could change it.
Oh, guys. Oh, man. I'm going to tell you, stick around because we're not done yet. I got a surprise for you coming up. So we're going to switch. We're 2 hours in and we're going to bring surprises in here. We're going to keep this conversation rolling. There is one thing I would like to talk about when, listening to this gentleman, he was talking about the borderline personality disorder. I don't know if that was diagnosed or what, a lot going on, and they match it with what they read. But borderline personality disorder, what is that like to live with a person that 1 second is happy, next second they're angry, the next second they're crying? You never know what you're going to get, Dwayne. And then you mix that in there with domestic violence.
Yeah, I mean, with BPD.
I need a emoji. Emoji.
Yeah, we need to get one. We need to get like.
I need a Satan emoji.
Yeah, Satan emoji would be perfect. Hey, actually, get red flags if you're making a list. We definitely have some red flags we can throw on the play for future episodes. But yeah, with BPD diagnosed, and again, we've talked about, we've kind of cautioned against it. It's BPD, the actual diagnosis. It should be done, by a professional. Of course, the whole psychology area, are they professional? But it's better to, and I know you were summing it up, in the voicemail, but it's better to talk about the behaviors, not the, well, she's bipolar, she's got BPD, she's got this, she's got that, because that, or she's alienating, or narcissist. I mean, the actual narcissist diagnosis is actually rare. It affects a very small percentage of the population that have been diagnosed. Now, people have narcissistic traits. We all do. I mean, if you go and look at the top 10 narcissistic traits, you'll probably have one or two. Now, if you're hitting all 10 and you're nailing that check mark,
there is such a thing as healthy narcissism.
Yeah. I mean,
there is such a thing as healthy narcissism, guys. I mean, I think right now, social media is full of narcissists. Go on TikTok, go on anything. People that's constantly, showing off their assets or whatever. Give me. No, I don't either. I had people that was begging me the other day, like, Eric, get on TikTok. I got it, Dad Talk on there, but I just, no, dude. I think that is a lot of what's wrong with this country or this world, to be honest with you.
Yeah. TikTok, that 30 seconds that, and, girls showing off the bobs, and, guys acting dumb or showing that. I mean, we want to not have people being sexualized and all sort of stuff. And yet we're showing off our bobs. That's, I'm 50. I want a woman that, yeah, sorry. Well, I know we had to come up with a safe word here that, doesn't get us any strikes or whatever. Call them bobs. I didn't trademark it. You can use it forever you'd like, but, talk about, something stimulating.
Bobs. Okay, I like it.
It's a play
I knew what
on
you
words.
was talking about. I knew what you was talking about.
It
Crazy
worked.
enough.
Yeah, that's how that works. But you know, do something, but and get your kids off TikTok. I mean, and I guess I'm kind of a hypocrite because well, a video that I had made a while back, one of the other groups, asked if he could use it. I said, sure, anything that helps the movement out, feel free. He did it. It got like 1.4 million views in like a week. It went viral, and it was nutty on its own. But get the kids off TikTok. Actually, Texas is putting a bill in to limit or prohibit social media use until you're 18 years old. I'm conflicted about it.
You get on TikTok, all you see is Bob's, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Bob's at Hooters.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of all the ways that I can use Bob's.
Bob. Bibbidi Bob.
Bob. All right, guys. Like I said, get the comments in here. I got a little bit of a surprise. We're going to keep it rolling, but we want to hear from you, or else we'll talk more about Bob's. Stephen Charles Wickenden. That's a heck of a last name. Wickenden. Cool. 8 years in family court, proven false allegations of domestic violence by the court's consultant. We get 2 days a year supervised contact. Imagine being in that fight for 8 years. This guy is saying he gets 2 days a year unsupervised contact. Why are they even giving him 2 days? That is pretty much getting nothing. That's going to be a slap in the face.
Yeah, that's almost an insult. Wow. 8 years of, I mean, how many, I'm assuming his great grandkids' inheritance has just been spent in the family courts there. That is just ridiculous. Oh my
dude.
God.
So, looks like we got a profile to match with one of the calls that was coming in, Mr. Andrew Allender. He said, I'll send you the picture on a DM. The nose alone was ridiculous. That was one of 157 visits. There was another case down there in Texas. We're going back to Texas again. I think it was Brad Lamb, right?
Oh, yeah, Brad's case. He has sent me all of the documents, pictures, and everything. And it's not for public. I mean, horrible. Tasering the children, forks, all kind of. They had him do a. And this is what the other, not him, but the other side was doing. And he's been fighting, and it's got to the point where they actually, they can't prove it, but they had put surveillance up outside of his house trying to keep track of him. I mean, we can't prove it. I'm sorry. Somebody attached a Wi-Fi security camera on a light pole right outside his house at one point. His is a horrible case. Those children. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those that hits you in the gut. One of the guys I wish, but his case, boy, I'm probably going to be wrong here, but Judith Wells, I believe, is the person. I'd have to, again, all these cases. I've
heard that name before.
Judy Wells is the only judge that called in to go against HB 803. And she said that she's such an idiot. She said she didn't like it because it doesn't. Well, she didn't use the right words.
I heard what you said under the laugh.
Yeah, she is. She's like, well, I think judges should have the ability to make decisions in the best interest of the children. So program. And what was funny is I made a short little video talking about it, and I had her talking, and I had the actual bill right next to it where I'm underlining. It's the judge's discretion. The judge can still override everything, but it's the presumption of 50-50. That's how stupid Judith Wells is. And she's in the divorce court video. She actually was the judge in I remember trying to remember her name. Wendy Perry. Wendy. I remember her maiden name. Perry. Okay, it is Perry. She is. If you watch divorcecorp.com, you go and you can find that video on Pissed Off Parent, the YouTube link to it, and watch it. That she's the judge that they were talking about. Good old Judy Wells. She's retiring. But I will say the statute of limitations.
Really?
Yes, she is retiring. She's going to be a dog pug.
Let's throw a retirement party right now. Let's throw a retirement party right now. I am not much of a singer, Dwayne, although I was a singer in a rock band at one point in time. Yeah. Let's sing a song. Well, how's it go? Na 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 na
Nah.
na 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 na.
Hey,
Yeah,
goodbye.
horrible. Goodbye.
I'm thinking
That
of
was-
another
yeah.
Twisted Sister song for her. You maybe no, you know the. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I won't say the name of the song that I'm thinking because I don't want to get in more trouble than I'm already in. There we go. Hey, goodbye. Hasta la vista, Judy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Get out of here. Get out of here. We want you out here. Guys, keep them comments coming in. We want to talk to you. 762-441-0281. Oh, I gave the voicemail line. No. Put them down in the comments. I'm not going to have time to put the voicemails in. We're just going to sit here and talk to you about this. Yeah. Ryan Wheeler said, I had about 15,000 followers on TikTok before I got banned the first time. I was just supporting struggling fathers. That is some of the crap that we go through. He also said, man, my internet. One of our judge's orders was my kid not be on TikTok. She was 11, 12 at the time because of how nasty the content can get if you end up on the wrong For You page. And that is very true, dude. I mean, I think the part that did it for me was getting on TikTok and can tell that one of these kids underage is on there twerking into the camera, like legal porn, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, there is no way I want to support this one bit whatsoever. And it seemed to be like that was pretty much all I was seeing. Yeah, no, not for me, bro. Not for me.
On the Facebook, the shorts or the whatever, that's it. I was telling my wife the other day, I'm like, I don't know what happened, but nothing but bobs on those shorts. I'm like, I don't even want to see that. I'll be honest. Trying to scroll past that. But yeah, the young kids on TikTok is ridiculous. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not going on anywhere to look at. I have nothing against bobs. Part of the reason a lot of us are on here, okay, probably in the situations we are, is because of Bob's. It is all Bob's fault, right?
All the Bob's fault.
Yes. Yeah. I was trying to think of another word for that. Dude, I would have never thought this. One of the things, okay, we're gonna go down into the Urban Dictionary for you guys that aren't familiar with it. Did you know what the kids are referring to when they put the peach?
Oh yeah.
I thought they was talking about the front side. I didn't know they was talking about the butt.
Oh, whoop. I guess I
Peach.
retract my first answer, and I will say I did not know then either. Okay. All right. I am old.
I didn't either.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I've been told. But I was like, I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of there you go, Ryan Wheeler. The badonk.
The badonk.
She's got that honky badonkadonk. Stay away from that badonkadonk.
Stay away from
badonkadonk.
Only in the
It's
sanctity
child
of a
support.
loving relationship. How's that?
That's
right.
another
thing.
Then there's nothing wrong with it. Then you can't go into the kitchen without smacking the badonkadonk.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that's my
Tom-
wife and I. Yeah. We got what's Tom doing?
Buddy Fitzpatrick said twerk for ratings. Yeah. So look, you don't want to see this ass right here, dude. I mean, this thing is so flat, guys. I mean, look at my belt right here. I mean, my belt strap is pulled so freaking tight. And I was telling you about it the other day, Dwayne. It was actually really funny. So I got into my deer hunting and I got all my deer cameras out there.
Oh yeah.
I said it to my wife. My wife was laughing. So I'm going through there. Here's a buck. Here's a doe. Here's a buck. And then I get this one picture and I'm like, what in the hell is this? This is hideous. I was in front of the camera. My ass cracked. Right. I was sitting there pouring some corn and all I see is this ass crack on the camera. And you know what? God, I love my wife. I'm glad she puts up with me because I don't think I would want to look at it. I don't.
I'll
So
be
Tom, you
honest,
say
yeah.
twerk for ratings. That's what sucks. There's another thing. You talk about equality, with men. I wish I could come on here with just, my shirt off or something like that, or in a nice pair of trousers or something, and be like, hey, look at me. It's OnlyFans, right? Yeah. And then we just get the ratings that way. But no. We have to rely on our humor. We have to rely on the voicemails and things like. We can't just use the acid. This ass, Tom, is not going to bring ratings, man. I'm telling you. We will lose everybody.
They don't bring the boys to the yard.
No. That ain't getting you no milkshakes. None. No milkshakes whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to tell you that.
Yeah, so, thank God I'm funny. What we got
here? Tom said, is it cold in there, Eric? I see your diamond cutters. All right. Enough expense, enough humor at the expense of my ass. Okay. All right. I'll let you have fun with it there for a second. But I'm telling you, people are leaving now. They said, don't ever bring that thing on again. Seth, getting on a more serious comment, and I love doing this for people that I believe in. Seth said, I get a lot of help from Dwayne Roberts' YouTube channel. Guys, if you have never seen Dwayne Roberts' YouTube channel, he is a good friend of mine. He is actually my techie nerd friend, right? Mm-hmm. So if I need some help, I need to know how to, Dwayne, you got to tell me, why does my computer keep doing the crap that it's doing? Why does Facebook keep doing this to me? Anyway, he has a channel called Dad Surviving Divorce. It's about narcissistic personality disorder, a lot of the same situations that we talk about on here. And he's a really good guy. His thing. Oh, yeah. You know what? Get out there and support Dwayne, because he is going to need stuff too. Because I don't think his milkshake is going to bring the boys to the yard. I don't.
Yeah. That beard. He's got that good beard though.
And he's got a good voice. He does get a good voice. But he is a great guy, man. He is promoted, and he's been doing this for a long time. And dude, when it can get very depressing sometimes, guys, putting your heart and soul and passion into making this content and feeling like, is there anybody out there that this is putting all this time and attention? He's been doing it, like I said, a lot longer than me. Oh yeah, dude. So get on there. That's on YouTube. Somebody just said, just sub to his channel. Thank you. Dad Surviving Divorce. We actually did a simulcast not long ago where we was live on Dad Talk and Dad Surviving Divorce at the same time. Check that out. Really good stuff. But Dwayne talks a little bit more about the diagnosis.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Dwayne works a full-time job. Yep. So he makes content when he can, and that hurts you as a content creator. And look, I don't think any of us are here to make a successful YouTube or channel. We are hoping to raise awareness and get some solutions so that we can go do something else. And he's definitely one of those, but I have seen him help a lot of guys and keep them off of walking off the ledge, man. So
yeah, he goes after the emotional piece of it. He talks about like the diagnosis. He has a lot of weighted information in there, and just the compassion. A very well spoken, funny guy. And that's coming from a couple of jokers like us. He's funny, but no, he's got a lot of good stuff. He's been doing this for years. He has his own website, YouTube channel. I thought he was going live every morning at like 6 Central. He's out in Cali, so he's early in the day for him. But yeah, great guy. He's a Dwayne. I mean, what else? We're all good.
He was there for a while. I think it was one of those just trying to keep up with the content, man. I hope this is something with Dad Talk. I mean, I said we was going to go live every single day. I think 2.5, 3 weeks in, guys, we've done it. I'm going to tell you, that's a record for Dad Talk. That is a record, but I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying being here with you guys. Dr. Brooks said, I just want to get famous. Guess I picked the wrong year. Brooks, you are famous, brother.
He is.
You are. I enjoy talking to Brooks when we had him on here. But yeah, dude, if you're who wants to be, I am Mr. Popular. I am the guy that can't see my kids.
Yeah. I mean, of all the things.
Of all the things. But they're out there.
Yeah,
No.
there is someone out there bragging about never seeing their kids and not wanting to, or whatever it is. But yeah, no, Brooks, another great guy, another unwilling participant. This guy's got a lot of good knowledge. Again, the doctor's not, he's not like Dr. Pepper down here in Texas. He's a doctor. A lot of good information, well spoken. He actually speaks it on his own time and dime. Anyone that'll host him. I mean, anywhere that he can go to. He's been doing a lot of stuff in the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and they're hearing a lot of this stuff for the first time. And he's an expert witness. He's got the credentials, he's got the background, the information, and very passionate. He sits down and he can walk you through what's going on, why, and most importantly, how to fix it. And I hate to say it, but he agrees with us. We need to get 1 million people saying we ain't going to take it. We're done. And get this thing taken care of. But Dr. Brooks McKenzie, another great guy. Dwayne Roberts, awesome. There's so many great people, organizations. I mean, I've met a lot of people over the years of doing this. There's a lot of good people that mean well. They work hard. Sometimes a thankless job. We've all, had those moments, but we're all dads and moms. Again, a lot of moms in the movement too. And we're all just, doing what we can to right a wrong, because we see it's for our kids, it's for your kids, and it's for everybody. It's going to better society. That's it for me. For me, I actually have my child 100% of the time now. I receive child support. There's no reason for me to be as passionate in doing these things, but it's wrong. We need to do the right thing. That's why we're here.
Well, dude, I feel the same way. False allegations. Yeah. That's a hard one to get on here and talk about, man.
Yeah.
Let me be frank with you guys. Some of the challenges that we're going through. I want one of my next big projects to be making a documentary about false allegations. Why? Because that's something the media is not going to touch with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And it needs to be done in the right way, strategically. And I have a plan. Okay. I'd love to go get some government funding, grants or something from media grant. There's not many people that are going to support this. Unfortunately, it's probably going to come back on the community for us to try to do some crowdfunding so we can get this media out here and address that elephant in the room. Yeah. I've never been through those type of allegations. Never. But I understand what is going on with it, right? At the same time, guys, talking about that subject matter, getting a little bit ahead, we was going to try to write a script for it. Dwayne, 6 different script writers said, "Oh, we'll not do.
They don't want to touch it.
To do with it. I want nothing to do with it."
Nope. They want it bare. They want to talk about the happy side. Well, probably if you would have said domestic violence and the guy perpetrating on the girl, they'd probably be all over it and already have the script written. But not false allegations and the results and the damage and all that, and showing all the pain and hurt and all those problems. Yeah, no one wants to touch it. That happens all the time. I have emails from Fox News. Again, no big. I like Fox News for what they do, but I have emails from Fox News. They wouldn't. I sent them the information and all that. They ghosted me. Nobody wants to talk about this stuff.
It's hard to get that through to him. And I'll tell you what now, I have seen Tucker address the fatherless issue probably more than just about anybody out there. And I'd love to get in touch with him. If you guys want to tag him down in the comments, I'd love to talk to Dr. Jordan Peterson as well. And while I got my wish list, you guys can start putting it down there. Joe Rogan.
He's in Austin.
I talked to him. A couple of years ago, his team. So said if it was ever a subject, we'd hear something, right? I haven't heard anything, but maybe one day, because these are platforms that have the opportunity. Unfortunately, guys, and this is something, if I could get in touch with him, I know a lot of people, when they talk about the fatherless issue, mean well, Dwayne.
Yeah.
But when you don't talk about the family courts with it, the narrative that came against the dads with the deadbeat dad narrative, or these guys just being absent fathers, when you don't address that there are dads out there that are trying to fight, or the majority of dads, I would say, are trying to fight, but they're going through this broken system. When you address the fatherless issue and you leave that piece of it out, you are feeding the narrative and you're actually making the fatherless issue that much worse.
Yeah.
So I am very hesitant when I hear somebody saying, "Oh, they're finally talking about fatherlessness." No, if you're going to address fatherlessness, what is causing fatherlessness? That's what I want to know. What's causing it? You give me 5 minutes, I'll fill you in as good as I can, and I'll have that elevator pitch ready to go. You want to hear about it? And for anybody, you know, that they say on these networks, Dwayne, well, it's not a sexy issue. That's why nobody wants to touch it. It's not going to make ratings. I didn't know, one, that the news in reality was supposed to be sexy.
Yeah.
And I know, again, you saw the ass while ago. I know that's not going to be sexy. But I can guarantee you, if you put this on your show or you get people on there that's talking about it, you're going to have more callers. You're going to have more comments than you'll ever know what to do with, because everybody knows somebody, if they're not going through it themselves, talking about politicians. We had one, I won't name his name, just a few minutes ago commenting on Dad Talk, talking about false allegations in Title 4D, because he is a representative that went through it. I want you to think about that, guys. Think about that.
Oh, it impacts everybody. I mean, just because you're a legislator or a judge, we've got a situation where judges, family court judges, have went through family court, and it did not turn out well for them. It impacts everybody. It's just getting that word out, talking about it. And then as this platform grows and the likes, the subscribes, the algorithm, and more people talk about it, that's when the Tucker Carlsons, the Joe Rogans, which, by the way, I got a plug now. My son said I would be a god if I was to be some part of the Joe Rogan show. He idolizes Joe Rogan, listens to his podcast every day. But to get on that show, that's going to take it to that national. Well, I mean, we're already international, but take it to that national, in everyone's car on the way to work, in their, at their dinner table, all those places. And that's where we have to be. Getting those numbers up is how we get there.
Well, so everything that we do here has to be strategy. And, I'm going to show you guys some of the behind the curtains, because again, that narrative is so strong that the second you say dad, the second you say false allegation, the second that you say child support, there is people that are not going to even let you in the front door. They're going to say, "Oh no, this is what it is." So you have to be able to do it in a way. And I don't think that the movement has quite grasped that. Sometimes I know a lot of these guys, I mean, you hear them, and you hear them in the voicemails. As soon as they get to tell their story, wah, and you need to be able to, you need to be able to do that, right? We all need to be able to do that. At the same time, when you finally get somebody's attention that's going to listen to these issues that can make that difference, sometimes you got the elevator pitch, right? Yeah. And you got to learn, like, give little tidbits of information and make them have questions. I'll give you an example. I'm just giving you guys some of my knowledge. Okay. When I've talked to people about John Mass situation, or I was talking to, different legislators, I'll say, I had this father on my podcast, John Mass, when he went to pick up his kids, he was shot at a custody exchange. Now there's so much more that went on to that story, but that right there, he was murdered at a custody. What happened? Well, let me tell you, I wanted them to show me the interest. It's tell me what's going on here. Just little things like that. And that's what I said. This is everything here has to be strategic. And I think that's why some of the conversations that we've been having over the past week, and I feel like Dad Talk has really, you might not see it in the numbers, but I think you can feel it in these conversations, has really taken it to a new height, getting raw, getting real, and just saying what the hell is on our mind, because this is what dads have been wanting to say for so long. But for so long, we've had that strategy and have them to feel like, well, we got to do this with the message. I'm kind of done with that, Dwayne. I'll be honest with you. I'm done with that. When I'm here talking to my boys and these guys that are in here wanting to see some change, what you see is what you get, right?
Yeah.
But when you're talking to the outside, you still got to have a little bit of that in there to know most people have been programmed to not listen to a damn thing you've got to say.
Well, and then I mean, most of people are going to hear their part of it. They're going to try to put their self into it. I mean, you were talking about when you were talking to a legislator, the guy came up and told you, dad's rights, don't care, whatever. And then you, as he was talking, or you had figured out, he was a grandpa, and then you talked to him, you brought in the grandpa angle, and you went, okay, yep. You got to make it real for him. What I've told people to do, because again, you get a chance to tell your story. Everyone, voicemails and voicemail, the 3-minute voicemail, that's probably a great way to, block in what your story is and what your ask is or what your story is. But you start out and you make it into a story. You talk about, the punchline. John Mast was murdered while picking up his children. Boom, hook in the mouth.
You want me to give you an example, Dwayne?
Yeah.
I don't know if we got a first-time listener, but somebody after I did that said John Mast with a question mark. It's Mast, M-A-S-T. But there is your example, and it played off on the screen. There is a full documentary there for you, Sarah, on YouTube. I Stand With John, about the case where John was murdered. Okay. At this time, though, guys, I said I had a surprise for you. At this time, let's do it. Look who's here.
Garza! Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you. It was unplanned. So how about that?
Very good.
Can't hear you.
No. Sign language?
No.
Doing
all right,
language.
guys. Well, White Garza is trying to figure this out.
All right.
Your settings going. Yeah.
He's doing the.
You got this. You've been here before. We lost him. He'll be back.
Yeah.
That didn't quite work out the way I expected it to. But you know what? There could be another surprise. Mr. Dr. Brooks McKenzie, you got to invite in your inbox too. Come on.
Oh, dude.
Come on, dude. Mike Whitney, you want to come on?
Whitney.
Let's get some of our boys. I said, Mike just commented, so I know you're seeing it. He's going to be like, oh, man, I'm sitting here in my underwear. I can't do it right now. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Don't do it in your underwear. But I'm saying you can put on something really quick and you can get on here. So you put down in the comments, will you accept the invite? You've been invited.
How about
what about there he is.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
So what have you been up to?
I just got in. It is raining like crazy here. Like
that's what you were saying, Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Garza, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Most people are going to know who you are. And we got the Dad Talk Today support group. You're making daily videos in there. I got another guest that said he wanted to hop on. So while you're doing that, I'm going to work this out.
Perfect. Robert Garza. I help in the Dad Talk Today support group. Now, a lot of people don't. They think that there's a link in the Dad Talk Today, but there's not. It's actually a separate Facebook group. So go to Dad Talk Today support group, and then we'll let you in. But we have a lot of stuff going on in there. If you're going through false allegations, family court, if you're going through a custody battle, if you want to know, I don't know, random stuff. I mean, you can post anything. There's a lot of dads, moms, stepmoms, everything else. So you can post the most random questions in there. You can post,
it's a safe place.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of, your ex isn't going to be in there. We try to take a lot of those out. So it's a very safe place for you. We have therapists in there too, if you need some kind of help. What else do we have in there? I've been through family court for about 13 years. Spent about $700,000. I have joint custody of my kids, and it's only because my ex brings in $60 million into where the judge presides in tax dollars. And so I still have joint custody, but she couldn't take it after spending $1 million. So, I help you all going through this. And so I have my kids, but I'm here to help anytime anybody wants. I'm on the phone literally with several people a day, helping them with their cases and everything else. So,
yeah. Wow. And again, none of us are attorneys, just regular dudes in here Doing the best we can. Robert's the best dressed out of all of us.
Yeah. Oh, by
I'm
far.
taking the stuff off. Hey, I'll leave my jacket on. There you go. There, I'll leave my
Oh,
jacket
no. Take that off. Show it off. We were actually, Eric was just showing his butt off earlier. So, I mean, we don't need to go that far, but. Oh, you saw that?
I thought you were going to twerk. I thought you were going to be like, you know.
He's
Dude,
a little older.
I got bad knees. I got bad knees. I don't think anybody really wants to see that anyway. I mean, we've already had these guys on here for 2.5 hours. So, but a lot of situations, Robert, talking about that support group, we've heard from a little bit of everybody. Have you ever seen an issue that somebody comes in there, an event or to talk about where there's not several other parents that say, hey, I've been through that too?
No, it's very rare that you find something else. And the crazy, go ahead.
Sorry.
We got it. We got a buddy in here.
Hey.
What's up, Mike?
It's
How you doing, guys? Not this year.
Yeah. Dude, I got to tell that story. So one year we was doing this and I had on a buddy of mine. And Mike came on, and he had a Santa Claus hat on. So his little child came and sat in his lap, and when he looked at the screen, he said, "It's Santa." And I'm gonna tell you, dude, none of this was planned. And Mike started going, "Ho ho ho!" Like, "How are you doing, little buddy?" And this guy sat here and talked to Santa. That was one of the coolest moments ever, dude.
Well, I had a full beard then. I had and my beard is. It's white. It's gray. So I had a full beard. I actually looked like Santa. I am Santa. I am actually him.
Mike, you have you operated for years a suicide hotline for these guys that was on the edge. I've been thinking about this more and more. Somebody said they wanted to see Rocky. All right, there he is.
He's right here. There he is. Rocky. Remember last time you saw Rocky in person, he was about the size of his head. You guys put him in a box at Melissa Isaacs and Dave Ammons at the Christmas party. You guys put him in a box and surprised me. You tricked me because you knew I would have said no, but it was one of the most amazing things that happened in my life. He's just wondering why I'm talking to myself. Huh?
I said, then he pooped on your hotel bed.
He did. We were up. I finally got to sleep, and I think you guys woke me up like 5 minutes after I got to sleep. Come on, breakfast. I'm like, what? Nah. Anyway, that was a hell of a night. That was an amazing. The whole story. I still tell people about it to this day at the dog park. They ask me about my dog, and I tell them the story. The quick version. It was amazing.
Mike, I was just sitting there thinking.
That's a good time to say.
That would be amazing if we could do something with Mike and have dads, reach out to Mike, and then he's supposedly Santa Claus, right? Just throw a thing on, hey, blah, 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 That would be amazing for kids that are 6 and under or something like that. Like, hey, if your kid wants to talk to Santa Claus, here, we'll have him on Zoom. You can Zoom him, hey, I'm going to be out your way for Christmas. You better be good. I know your dad, Jeff, Mike, blah, 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 whatever, right? And it edifies the kid mentally that his dad knows Santa. Like,
street cred.
It puts him on a pedestal.
Santa's awesome. Santa is everything. I just went to.
I know Santa. Let me just call him up real quick, right? And then we have like a Zoom thing that you could just like Mike, wherever Mike's at, right? Like he'd be eating or something. Like, hey,
Rob, I just went to. I messaged you guys, and I went to in Las Vegas, the Shelby Museum, the Shelby Mustang Museum. I recommend it. It's awesome. I got you guys a couple little souvenirs. I asked for so you guys give me your addresses again, and I'll send them to you. Call it a Christmas gift or whatever. Just little trinkets. But I went with my buddy here in Vegas and his son. It's Saturday, so he's got his son for the weekend, every other weekend kind of thing. His son's 5 years old. So me and the kid hit it off. It's just great hanging out with kids. After the museum, we went to the playground and all this stuff, but we were talking about Santa and all kinds of shit. We were talking about, singing songs, and it's just so great hanging out with little kids and dogs, and it's the best thing ever. The innocence is there. They just live in the moment, and just the magic of Santa Claus lives. And it's
Let me ask you a question real quick, dude. I'm getting back to that suicide hotline. You did this for people that were on the ledge, and you answered that phone religiously, man. And we can't thank you enough for doing that for this community, because I know the messages for myself. Yes, absolutely, guys.
Well, you guys,
ridiculous work sometimes, but
what's the point?
Talk to these people about the importance of some of these guys just having a listening ear.
It's everything. It's everything. Unfortunately, a lot of the guys, they don't even know what to say. They're overwhelmed. They're lambasted. I mean, without getting into the whole thing about it. Let's face it. They're just living their everyday, American dream life or whatever. They got a career, they got a house, a wife, a kid, a picket fence, and a dog in the yard. Within one day, sometimes, like overnight, that all changes. They just walked out of their very first court case, one day in court, and they don't know what's going on. Oh my God, my ex is sleeping with my best friend, and she made false allegations, and they got a no contact order. I can't even see my kids. They're going to throw me in supervised visit. They're overwhelmed with the betrayals, the abandonment, the injustices. They don't even know what's happening yet, and they think nobody understands. And a lot of people don't, including well-meaning people, friends, family, society. They either don't understand, so they're getting some well-meaning but bad advice, or they're getting other advice from the powers that be themselves, judges, lawyers, their own lawyer, caseworkers, police, giving them bad advice. So they're caught in the middle of that cesspool, and they're not talking to anyone that really understands. Even if they call another suicide hotline, the national hotline, there's some people who are trained, right? And it's important to have some training. But where's Rob?
Hold on, I'm coming.
There he is. Oh, he's sideways. Wait, there he is. You're making me dizzy.
We had talked about a few things with the voicemails, the therapy that comes from getting your story out, and we've got some examples: child support and custody interference and parental alienation and all those things. One thing that we touched on was for the alienators. We had Wanda on earlier today, and she gave a great testimony. But let's hear from if you want to leave a message, 3 minutes, and talk about if you had alienated another parent or played the shenanigans with them, and you thought about it and went, "This is wrong. I'm going to change and do the right thing for my kids." Call in. It's therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, do it. Yeah. That was my that was one thing I wanted to remember.
That's it, man. I mean, you get the platform here. We're giving you a voice. Everybody's saying, "Oh, I want to be on the show." That's your chance to be on the show. I mean, we have sat here and read everybody's comments, and we've been doing that for the past 3 weeks. Everybody, we got to be a little short on time, because when you get the millions of people that's actually here and affected by it, there's no way we're going to be able to sit around the campfire, right? But we'll do as much as we can to show how many people are affected by it. And that's all we can do, right?
Everyone's affected by it, whether you have kids or not. Everyone that lives in so-called free society anywhere in the world is affected by it, whether you have kids or not. It doesn't matter. It's that deep. The rabbit hole runs that deep. It's affected society in so many negative ways. You don't know where to begin or end. But yeah, I mean, like, that's a good thing. If somebody is an alienator, for example, and they say, "Hey, look, I found the error of my ways. I learned a thing or two and myself even." Come on the show. You're forgiven. It's not like you're going to come here and get forgiveness. You better worry about your forgiveness with God. That's what you better worry about. But yeah, come on the show. I've spoken with lots of people that said, "Yeah, you know what? I didn't realize it. I did that. I was mad at my ex or whatever. We lawyered up or whatever. The lawyers and caseworkers, they influenced me. I didn't even realize it. And I was an alienator. And then I realized the error of my ways, and things are much better now for everyone involved, and especially the kids." I think that's great. Have them come on the show, speak out. You know what? You know who else is great to have on the show? Anybody and everybody. I told you the other day, Eric. What do they say? I sent you an email or something. Bring them all on. Bring the best of the best in the world. Bring the Pope on. Bring the politics, the judges, the best law scholars and lawyers. Bring them all on and let them debate little old us. What are they afraid of? They wouldn't show up because they don't like the light being shined on them when it comes to truth. They like us to go into their realm in the family court buildings with their armed security and no cameras in the courtroom. That's where they like us. They don't want to come out here and have an open live forum, unscripted, where they can't just leave the room and say, we're done here. No, you got to answer the questions. We'll answer yours. But when you're in the realm of truth, like we are, we got nothing to be afraid of. They're scared shitless of showing up to something like that. We all know it. And if they're watching, come on the show. Come on. If you got nothing to hide, come on the show, Judge.
Absolutely, man. All right, guys. So we'll be back 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. And we might even do a 2 for tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. But until then, guys, get those voicemails in. 762-441-0281. I love all of you guys on the screen, and we'll do this again tomorrow.
Letting go that you pay flags. All the silence